Yunshan Empire, Yunshan Military Academy. In the interstellar era, stargates are an important technology for the survival of every empire. Through stargates, the empire's fleets can freely travel between galaxies and even between star regions. The galaxy represents endless resources, so the more star gates a force controls, the greater the force is. Currently, the Yunshan Empire controls only 5 stargates, ranking 3rd in the Federation. In a large classroom full of technology, the projection of the teacher stands on the podium and talks eloquently. Fengimo, who was sitting in the last row, fell into deep thought. As a time traveler who came to the interstellar era, with both parents dead, an only child, a family heir, and a down-and-out nobleman, he is definitely one of the best among all the time travelers. As the saying goes, even a rotten ship still has 3,000 nails. Even though the Feng family is a fallen noble, they still control 3 planets in the Xianyun galaxy, which can bring them nearly 1 million Yunshan coins in income every year after deducting expenses. After all, one of the 3 planets is a life planet. Not only does it not make money, but it also requires continuous investment. In addition, it has to maintain the fleet and the territory defense system, so there is really not much money left. What's more, the tuition fee of Yunshan Military Academy is not cheap. Fengmo's annual expenses are at least over 100,000. Yunshan Military Academy is the top military academy in the entire empire. Fengmo is studying in Class 1 of the junior year of the Academy's ace major, the Command Department. Because he has no worries, and Fengmo has had a great interest in starships since he was a child, and he has the standard plug-in for a time traveler. During college, he studied on his own and passed the exam to become a junior starship engineer, with the authority to design and build starships. Although the tuition fees of the military academy are expensive, in order to be admitted to this top academy, one must rank above the top 300 in the entire empire in terms of theoretical knowledge and genetic talent. He will graduate successfully in 1 year. By then, he can form an interstellar fleet and go to the Chaos Star Sea to open up new land and find his parents who have been missing for more than 10 years. At present, the major empires of the Federation strongly support fleets to explore the universe, commonly known as pioneering, with generous rewards and, most importantly, military merit. If a natural planet with life is discovered, the discoverer can report it to the empire and receive 30% of the profit, or attack it on his own and receive 80% of the profit. As for discovering resource planets, the rewards are even richer. If you report them to the empire for mining, you can get 50% of the profits, and if you mine them yourself, you can get 90% of the profits. Students, today's classes are over. This semester is almost over. We will have to do practical internships starting from our senior year. You may go to the front line to fight against interstellar orcs, interstellar insects, and interstellar mechanical races, or you may go to the Chaos Star Sea to conduct interstellar exploration. You are all students of the Starship Command Department, so you all need to have a starship of your own before the next semester starts. There is no restriction on the type and level of starships. Everyone can buy them on their own or exchange them with academy points. As for the captain and crew of the starship, they can be recruited from other departments in the academy or purchased from the captive market, as long as it complies with the laws of the empire. After the teacher finished his announcement, the projection disappeared. The entire class went wild with this announcement, and everyone was discussing the starships they had prepared. The Starfleet Command Department only recruits 2 classes of 100 students a year. Those who can come here must be from wealthy or noble families. Of course, there are also a few ordinary outstanding students occasionally. Currently, the highest level starship in the Empire is T5. Most of the starships prepared by students' families are T2, and some nobles will prepare T3 for students in their clans. Most of the starships that can be exchanged in the Academy are T1 level, and occasionally there are T2 level, but most of these starships are old starships that have been in service for 100 years. After being repaired and renovated by the Starship Maintenance Department, they have been reborn, but the backwardness of the style and material cannot be changed. Alas, what a pity. I am just a jerk, and my clan only prepared a T2 Star Destroyer for me. A destroyer is fine, but I think a man should drive an interstellar battleship. A huge ship and huge guns are the romance of a man. Hey, those nobles have good families, but I can't. I'm just a commoner. I can exchange a frigate from the academy to complete my studies and then work in the fleet after graduation. Listening to the discussion of the students around him, Feng Yimou was also thinking about his first starship. As a man who doesn't have a fantasy of traveling the universe, Yimou, have you decided what starship to buy? You have to prepare it quickly. The holiday is coming soon, and you still have to recruit people. Wang Chongsheng on the side came up to Feng Yimou and said, Lao Wang, how are your preparations going? Show them to your brothers and let them open their eyes. Wang Chongsheng raised his hand with a smile, revealing the smart terminal on his arm. A holographic projection projected a three-dimensional picture, which was a starship model with an ancient appearance. T3 Bald Eagle-class interstellar destroyer. Market price 26 million Yunshan coins. My father ordered this destroyer for me. Even the captain and crew are ready. They are all veterans who have served in the military for more than 30 years. After Wang Chongsheng finished speaking, he hesitated and said again, Yimou, I still have some money here. Why don't you increase the budget a little and just go for it in one go and get a T3 starship? I'll ask my dad to buy it for me and I can get a discount. It's okay. I already have an idea about the starship. Don't worry. You'll see it after the holiday. Feng Yimou laughed. Wang Chongsheng has a very good family background. His uncle is the boss in charge of the Empire's interstellar trade. His father inherited the title of Earl, and the entire family's influence ranks among the top 10 in the Yunshan Empire. So it was not surprising that Lao Wang was given a T3 starship worth more than 20 million. The two chatted as they followed their classmates to the college cafeteria. On the way, Wang Chongsheng saw Feng Yimou looking thoughtful and thought that he was still thinking about the starship. In fact, Feng Yimou's status and position are not low, but his parents died early. Feng Yimou has now inherited the title of Viscount and also owns 3 planets in the Xianyun galaxy. This is the ancestral planet of the Feng Yimou family. Feng Yimou's title was inherited from his great-grandfather, who was once a fleet commander of the Yunshan Empire. He fought in countless battles in his life and won military honors. He was granted the title of Earl by the Empire and was granted a fiefdom. Unfortunately, each generation is weaker than the previous one. By the time of Feng Yimou's grandfather and father's generation, they had not performed any meritorious deeds to improve or consolidate their titles. As a result, when Feng Yimou inherited the title, he was automatically downgraded to a viscount. According to the laws of the Yunshan Empire, the duke is hereditary, and the 4 ranks of nobility, marquis, earl, viscount, and baron can only be passed down for 3 generations. After 3 generations, if there are not enough military merits, they will be downgraded. As for his family's territory, his parents made a last-ditch effort to gain military merit when he was 8 years old. They sold a large number of resource planets and used the money to build a T3 fleet with T3 battleships as the main ships to explore the Chaos Star Sea. Unfortunately, he didn't come back in the end. Feng Yimou, let's go and sit over there. After the two entered the cafeteria, Lao Wang put his arm around Feng Yimou's shoulders and tried to get him to go to the other side, as if he was intentionally avoiding something. But he has already seen the person that Lao Wang didn't want Feng Yimou to see. Jiang Wei and Zhao Zicheng. These two people have never gotten along with Feng Yimou and Wang Chongsheng, but on the surface they still maintain a good brother relationship. It's all because of the grudges between the 4 people's grandfathers. Wang Chongsheng rolled his eyes. It was such a rare opportunity. Why did he keep running into these 2 idiots everywhere he went? When Feng Yimou's great-grandfather was still alive, he worked in the imperial military and had many students and former officials. However, the elders of these 2 bugs in front of him were not from the same faction as his great-grandfather. At that time, there were occasional fights between the elders and these 2 bugs, and this fight continued to the descendants. Since Feng Yimou's parents disappeared, this fight has gradually disappeared. The 2 were both students in Class 2, junior year, conducting department. They were not in the same class and did not meet each other often. However, every time they met, the 4 of them would quarrel with each other. This was a very normal thing. The grudges among the 4 were well known in their class. Wang Chongsheng knew that these 2 idiots would definitely take the opportunity of purchasing the starship to go crazy with Yin Yang and Feng Yimou. Let's go. We have to confront these 2 idiots head-on. Otherwise, We'll see them talking nonsense all over Starnet the next day. Feng Mo rejected Wang Chengxing's proposal and walked straight towards the floor-to-ceiling window in front. To outsiders, it seemed that Feng Mo and Wang Chengxing were about to face off. They all stretched their necks to look at the four people. After all, the love of watching the fun is universal, and it is a habit engraved in their genes. Hey, isn't this young Master Zhao? I miss you so much after not seeing you for so long. Wang Chengxing winked and gave Feng Mo a look at me, then quickly walked towards Zhao Ziqing. This trick really confused Zhao Ziqing. He could only stand up and greet Wang Chengxing. The two sides hugged each other tightly, like close friends who never wanted to see each other again. Zhao Ziqing strangled Wang Chengxing with all his strength, then hit him hard on the back with his right hand 3 times. Bang, 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 making him stick out his tongue. Wang Chengxing was even more vicious. He raised his left foot and stomped on the opponent's instep, making Zhao Ziqing grimace in dismay. At the same time, the two of them also greeted each other's elders about their health in voices that no one else could hear. To outsiders, the two people were extremely harmonious and the scene was extremely warm. The two people exchanged greetings enthusiastically like old friends, and it lasted for 5 minutes. They didn't part until their eyes were filled with tears from the pain. Wang Chengxing rubbed the place where he was hit calmly, while Zhao Ziqing secretly raised his right foot, but he could only endure it in front of everyone. Although the two of them kept smiling, the smile looked a bit gnashing. Lao Wang, this place is in a good location. You can also see the starships docked outside. Feng Mo came to a dining table with floor-to-ceiling windows and pointed to the interstellar dock where the starship was docked in the distance. This helped Wang and Zhao out of their predicament. Wang Chengxing slowly came to the dining table, sat down and said in a low voice, "Duck, this guy's hammer really hurts, but he's not feeling well either. I almost broke his right foot." "Haha, just ignore them. I'm happy today. I'll treat you to a meal," Wang Chengxing said proudly. Feng Mo just chuckled at this, thinking how happy it was to have a childhood friend who was not short of money and took care of his self-esteem. Before Feng Mo could answer, Wang Chengxing had already ordered the food on the smart terminal, all of which were Feng Mo's favorites. After the little incident just now, the two chatted about the starships docked at the dock, ignoring the hatred that Zhao Ziqing burst out from behind. Since he was a child, Feng Mo would express several 100% of his passion for anything related to starships. He chose to eat here to see the various types of starships. Which man could refuse a giant ship and a giant cannon? Based on the knowledge he had learned in his mind, Feng Mo compared the starships parked at the interstellar dock one by one. Basically, there are more T1 and T2 starships and a very small number of T3 starships. You will not see any active T4 starships in the Academy, and no T4 starships will be retired. Currently, the 3 major fleets of the Yunshan Empire use mixed fleets with T5 starships as the main ships and T4 starships as the auxiliary ships. In this era, T1 starships are civilian starships, and military starships are at least mixed fleets composed of T3 starships as the main and T2 starships as the auxiliary. Feng Mo saw a T2-class battleship at the edge of the starport. This was an antique-level starship, probably older than Feng Mo's missing father. Interstellar battleships and interstellar aircraft carriers are 2 types of ships that are very expensive to build among conventional starships. One is the overlord of interstellar air combat and is synonymous with giant ships and giant cannons. The other is a mobile interstellar fortress, which houses countless interstellar fighters and interstellar mechas, and can be called a behemoth. Of course, this is just a conventional starship. There are also special starships above it, such as interstellar missile ships, jump ships, bomber ships, star destroyers, etc. The hull of the docked T2-class interstellar battleship was painted with 3 emblems symbolizing the identity of the starship. The one in the front is the emblem of the Star Sea Human Federation, the one in the middle is the emblem of the Yunshan Empire, and the one at the back is the emblem representing the Academy. Soon, the robot brought 2 meals to the table. Just as they were about to start eating, they heard an unpleasant voice. "Ziqing, I heard that this year the school will organize all students in the command department to participate in practical training. Both of us have T3 starships prepared at home, so we are safe and secure, unlike a certain down-and-out nobleman who can't even afford a T3 starship." Feng Yimou could tell that this was what Jiang Wei said, but he was right. Feng Yimou really couldn't afford a T3 starship. Most of his family's property was sold by his parents, and currently Feng Yimou has only more than 8 million Yunshan coins in his bank account. If he wants to afford a T3 starship worth tens of millions, he has to sell the 3 planets at home. But it is impossible to ask Feng Yimou to sell the planet. Fortunately, he still has the plug-in, so it should not be difficult for him to deal with a T3 starship. Jiang Wei has a bad habit. He likes to humiliate others from a superior position. Maybe this is the so-called sense of superiority. After all, Feng Yimou had met such a person in his previous life. In his eyes, Zhao Ziqing was his younger brother, and when he was bullied by Wang Chongsheng, he, as the eldest brother, of course had to get back at him. Feng Yimou put down his chopsticks helplessly, stood up and said to Jiang Wei, "I have a lot of things to do, and I don't have time to fool around with you guys anymore. Jiang Wei, do you dare to have a starship duel at the beginning of your senior year? Let me see the level of the T3 starship your father prepared for you. Starship duel? You and me? Are you sure?" Jiang Wei was stunned at first, then he couldn't help laughing. He stood up and walked to Feng Yimou, but before his fingers could touch Feng Yimou's chest, Wang Chongsheng opened his mouth with his hands. Jiang Wei glared at this, but Wang Chongsheng didn't care at all and just stood beside Feng Yimou. His childhood friend wanted to use this to establish his authority, but he would not jump out to be the protagonist. "Are you a man? Do you dare or not? Just tell me the truth." "Of course I dare." "Okay. School starts on September 1st. See you at Starport Dock at 1 p.m. on the 3rd. If I lose, I'll be expelled. What about you?" Feng Yimou looked at the other person with slightly cold eyes. "I'll drop out of school if I lose." Jiang Wei took the opportunity to speak. "Okay, it's a deal." After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he controlled the smart terminal on his arm to send a challenge request to the other party through the Star Network Academy version. On the other side, Jiang Wei also ignored Zhao Ziqing's advice and controlled the smart terminal to click to agree. At this time, a holographic projection screen appeared between the two of them, and the 2 class teachers of the command department of the Big 3-star ship appeared on the screen at the same time. Third-year student Feng Yimou has requested a starship duel with third-year student Jiang Wei. Can both class teachers confirm? The 2 head teachers looked at the 2 of them at the same time. Feng Yimou nodded slightly to the teacher, and Jiang Wei opposite him did the same. "Confirm. The duel is established. Please go to the Academy's interstellar dock on time at 1 p.m. on September 3rd to prepare for the duel." After hearing that the duel was confirmed, Feng Yimou felt relieved and turned around to sit down to eat. Jiang Wei, who was standing next to him, felt something was wrong, but didn't know what, and was then pulled away by Zhao Ziqing. After the farce ended, Wang Chongsheng sat down and said cautiously, "Yimou, you were a little impulsive just now. Let me make it clear first. It's not that I don't believe you. Don't worry, you can use my starship during the duel, and don't come back to the territory during the holidays. Just come with me, and I will take you to familiarize yourself with the starship." Feng Yimou waved his hand after listening and said, "Lao Wang, I appreciate your kindness, but you really don't need it. I already have a starship. I'll bring it over to open your eyes when school starts. Don't worry, it's just Jiang Wei. He can't make any waves." After having lunch with Lao Wang, the 2 separated. Feng Yimou returned to the dormitory, while Lao Wang took the transport starship home. Feng Yimou's dormitory is located in the villa complex behind the main teaching building. This is the dormitory for the 4th batch of students in the Starfleet Command Department, with 1 dormitory for each student. The decoration inside the villa is very luxurious. When you enter freshman year, if you're willing to pay for the decoration, the college can also decorate it according to your own preferences. Feng Yimou arrived at the gate of villa number 369, which belonged to him, and the smart terminal at the door automatically recognized him. "Welcome home, master." The door opened and 2 intelligent robots bowed to greet him. Feng Yimou walked into the dormitory and lay down on the soft sofa. A sky blue screen automatically appeared in front of him. Name: Feng Yimou. Level 1 Gene Warrior. Occupation: Junior Starship Engineer, Lord of Xianyun Star. Special talent: Half the Sky. When the fleet recruits more female soldiers than male soldiers and non-humanoid male soldiers, the fleet gains a lucky bonus. Starship: Zero task: Build the first starship. Completion reward. Open the points mall and get 100 points. Warehouse. T2 Black Bear class interstellar frigate blueprints. T3 Storm class interstellar battleship blueprints. After Feng Yimou was born after 10 months of life in the Queen, he had a flame birthmark on his chest. This is his cheat, Xinhua. It can be said to be a system, or it can be said to be an intelligent life, but this life is temporarily dormant. It only changed when he was 18 years old. All he had left was a simple panel and irregularly posted tasks. There were rewards for completing them and no penalties for failing, so he had a high degree of freedom. Feng Yimou has been a human being in 2 lives. He has been much smarter than ordinary people since he was a child. At the age of 18, he was successfully admitted to the Yunshan Imperial Military Academy. After being injected with genetic medicine, he became a first-level genetic warrior and awakened a unique talent. If you want a luck bonus, there will be more female fighters than male fighters in starships in the future. I have to say that this talent is really well done. After becoming a genetic warrior, you can awaken a variety of unique talents and also increase your lifespan. Everyone's talent is a secret that cannot be told. According to statistics from the Yunshan Daily, ordinary humans in the Empire, and even in the Human Federation, can only live to a maximum of 180 years old. This is just the lifespan of ordinary citizens. After a citizen reaches the age of 18, he or she will receive genetic medicine provided free of charge by the Empire. After the injection, his talent is awakened, and he becomes a first-level genetic warrior, extending his life by 100 years. After subsequent practice and guidance surgery, the genetic level will be improved step by step, and the lifespan will become longer and longer. According to statistics in the daily newspaper, there are currently 33 level 5 genetic warriors in the Yunshan Empire, and it is said that these people can live for thousands of years. Of course, every citizen's genetic talent has an upper limit. Unless the bottleneck is broken, they will remain at the current level and will slowly grow old and die. The starship Feng Yimou wanted to build was a reward for completing a task last semester, AT-3 Storm-class interstellar battleship blueprint. At present, the Empire's public selling price for AT-3 level interstellar battleship will not be less than 50 million Yunshan coins. As for the construction cost, Feng Yimou calculated that it would take at least 13 or 14 million Yunshan coins. He didn't have that much money yet, but he still had credits. Some basic materials can be exchanged with college points to match the purchased materials. Feng Yimou is confident that he can do it with 8 million Yunshan coins. At present, the prices of starships sold by Starship Corporation are generally AT-1 starship costs about 1 million, AT-2 starship costs about 4 to 10 million, AT-3 starship costs about 50 million, AT-4 starship costs over 100 million, and AT-5 starship is priceless. Because the Empire and even the Human Federation do not allow starship companies to produce, of course they do not have the blueprints. The T5 starship blueprints are controlled by the major empires in the Federation. As for the series of starships, interstellar aircraft carriers and battleships are the most expensive, followed by destroyers, and frigates are the cheapest. As for auxiliary starships, their prices fluctuate greatly and are also very precious. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Feng Mo arrived at the Academy's starship warehouse on time, just in time for the administrator's afternoon work hours. Hello, teacher. I'm here to exchange for starship materials. Feng Yimou came to the warehouse manager's counter and uploaded a list through the smart terminal. This is a list of starship parts one prepared. At the same time, please arrange a starship dock for me. After listening to this, the administrator glanced at the materials on the list and said, "Need to hire starship engineers and maintenance workers?" The administrator teacher asked. "No thanks, teacher." Feng Yimou shook his head. Thinking that Feng Yimou had already found a starship engineer to cooperate with, the teacher did not ask any further questions. The parts and materials you want are all in the Academy warehouse. They will be delivered to Interstellar Dock number 3 in half an hour. You have 16 Academy points left, classmate. Okay, thank you, teacher. After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he turned and left the warehouse, taking the Academy's flying car and spending 0.01 points to go to Interstellar Dock number 3. As the top university in the Empire, the Yunshan Interstellar Military Academy has very high credits. On average, 1 point is equivalent to 10,000 Yunshan coins. Fengma University only earned more than 300 points in 3 years, and now they have all been spent. Ding dong, Feng Yimou, a third-year student in the command department, has obtained the right to use Interstellar Dock No. 3 for 2 months. Feng Yimou received a message from the Interstellar Dock administrator while in the flying car and went directly to the door of Dock Number 3. After intelligent recognition, the door opened automatically, revealing a large space, at least 3 square kilometers. Feng Yimou waited for a while at the gate. Then, one transport vehicle after another arrived at Dock Number 3, and huge intelligent handling machines moved the materials into the dock. After the transport vehicle left, Feng Mo closed the dock door and went to the center console of the workshop first. Call up one holographic screen after another, tap the screen quickly with your fingers, and input data one after another. Then start the personal intelligent terminal and import the T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship blueprint into the main control console. Finally, a blue 3-dimensional model appeared on the holographic screen, rotating continuously. Feng Yimou has 2 copies of the blueprints in his hands, both of which have been registered for copyright in the Star Sea Human Federation database, so he can use them with confidence. Even if they are stolen, no one would dare to blatantly produce them for profit. Of course, many things are not worth mentioning in the face of interests, but thieves will also consider the corresponding risks. The federal government still has very good protection for intellectual property rights. Besides, Feng Yimou himself is an imperial aristocrat, so some things will not happen to him. Whether it is the interstellar era or the previous world, it is an era of cannibalism, which is normal. The Academy's interstellar dock is equipped with an intelligent construction system. After Feng Yimou uploaded the blueprints, the shipbuilding began with the sound of machinery. The first step is to cut and shape the material to prepare the various parts of the starship. Then it is assembled in sections, the hull is put together, weapons are installed, etc. This was not Feng Mo's first time building a starship, but it was his first time building a T3 starship. But he seemed like a veteran with many years of practical experience. The whole process was smooth, and his operation was very accurate. Time passed in a flash, and it was August 27th. There were only 4 days left before school started, and Feng Yimou had been living in Dock Number 3 for nearly 2 months. At this time, in the starship construction area of the dock, a brand new interstellar battleship was on display. The entire starship is streamlined, and the brand new hull armor and black and red paint make it look majestic and domineering. Feng Yimou took a deep breath, dragged his tired body, and completed the last starship inspection. Then he staggered and almost fell to the ground. It's finally done, and the next step is the sea trial test. Feng Yimou picked up the food beside him in the control room and started eating without caring about his dirty hands. God knows how he spent the past 2 months. He hasn't had a single good night's sleep during this period. Fortunately, medical technology is advanced in the interstellar age and is equipped with nutrient solution. Otherwise, Feng Yimou would have died suddenly countless times. Hard work pays off. After nearly 2 months, he finally completed the construction of this T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship. After finishing his meal, he threw the lunchbox away, walked out of the main control room, and came to the door of the starship. Entering the starship, the first thing that comes into view is the starship corridor. Walking to the end of the corridor, Feng Yimou arrived at the bridge, which is the main control room of the battleship. It is equivalent to the brain of the starship and the only weakness of all starships. The bridge is not big, only about 200 square meters. Because the starship has not been officially launched, the main control room is pitch black. Feng Yimou walked to the captain's chair alone. As soon as he sat down, he was swept up and down by a red beam of light. Then a mechanical sound came from the main console. Highest authority detected. Identity recognition started. Identification successful. The T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship welcomes Captain Feng Yimou home. Then a control panel with suspended black crystal rose in front of Feng Yimou Storm is starting up. The main control system is starting up. Energy system starting up as Feng Yimou officially started the starship. The lighting system in the main control room started, and the entire starship instantly became bright. Then, this behemoth began to revive. The starship self-check system is starting. The starship weapon system is starting. Testing completed. Running well? As mechanical sounds rang out in the control room, the starship officially revived. Feng waved his arms happily. Although he had blueprints and systems, this was the first time he had built a T3 starship. He was under a lot of pressure, but fortunately the construction was very successful. The hull, main guns, secondary guns, armor, engine, radar, star shield, and other parts of a battleship have all passed self-inspection successfully, and then it can sail into the universe. It's time to recruit crew members, as he cannot handle this huge ship alone. Generally, there are 3 sources of crew members. One is students who are approaching their senior year in other majors of the academy. However, they only have theory but lack practice, and need time to be trained. The second is to recruit retired veterans from the Imperial Army. This is very strong both in theory and in practice, but it is very expensive to support these veterans, and they have to pay them monthly. If they dare to default on their payments, the Empire will impose sanctions. The third group includes some crew members who do not come from formal channels, such as interstellar pirates who were previously engaged in gray industries, captives, etc. As for crew recruitment, the Academy also has channels. Feng prefers to recruit captives, as they are easier to manage and don't have too many thoughts. The most important thing is that it is a one-time payment. You don't have to pay wages in the future. As long as food and accommodation are provided, it is very cost-effective. Feng turned on the smart terminal on his arm, connected to the Academy network, and selected the captive market in the crew recruitment channel. Looking at the long list, Feng did not feel impatient at all, but instead checked it carefully. On the homepage of the list is a group of beautiful women of all races. There is nothing that the captive market won't sell, except what you can't imagine. Among these captives, some have furry tails, cat ears, snake bodies, or look very similar to humans. Each one of them would have been stunning in their previous lives. And it's very cheap, ranging from 5,000 to 10,000 Yunshan coins per person, and there are discounts if you buy in large quantities. It is obvious that this captive market understands the psychology of these LSP very well. To be honest, Feng is also a little envious. The war has not yet been fought, and it is obviously not the time to enjoy yet. After taking a quick look, Feng suddenly stared at the captive list, as if he had discovered some treasure. We've got her. We've got the deputy captain, Feng muttered to himself, and then quickly checked the captives with both hands. He checked 150 in a row before stopping. When paying, he looked at the bill. Since he had no credits left, he could only pay with Yunshan coin. A total of 151 people spent more than 3 million Yunshan coins. He didn't have that much money at the moment, so he borrowed 10 million Yunshan coins from the college's internal loan platform by mortgaging a resource planet in his home at an annual interest rate of 1%, which he could repay within 10 years after graduation. The deputy captain alone cost 1 million Yunshan coins, which is equivalent to the price of a T1 starship. It was expensive, but Feng thought it was worth it. After paying the deposit, it was informed that it would be delivered in an hour, and Feng took the opportunity to take a nap. When the alarm goes off, take a shower and change into clean clothes. Feng walked out of the interstellar dock and his captives arrived. Hello, student Feng. These are the 151 captives you ordered. A young man with a professional smile appeared in front of Fengma shipyard, followed by a transport truck. Then, more than a dozen soldiers in combat uniforms and holding electromagnetic pulse guns got off the transport vehicle and removed the black cloth on the transport vehicle. What came into view was a huge cage. The captives knelt in their cages, all wearing brand new clothes. They looked haggard and a little scared. These captives are mainly interstellar orcs, with more women than men. These orcs are also pitiful people. Because the Star Sea Human Federation is at war with the interstellar orcs, they are not welcome in the Human Federation. The female captives were mostly cat girls and fox girls, while the male captives were mostly bear men and tiger men. These captives were captured by the Empire when it conquered foreign star systems. They entered the trading market and were bought by Feng. Each of them has at least 1 year of experience in starship piloting, and the best among them have served as soldiers for at least 10 years. Among these 150 people, 130 are equivalent to the first-level human genetic warriors, and 20 are equivalent to the second-level genetic warriors. The cages were opened, and the staff drove the captives off the vehicles and lined them up in 15 rows in front of the dock, with 10 people in each row. Leading the group was a tall woman with fair skin, a charming face, and a human-like appearance. She had 2 pointed horns on her head and a long tail behind her. This is the interstellar succubus, a special race. Their physical strength may not be strong, only equivalent to the second-level human genetic warriors. But their mental power is quite strong. The mental power of the succubus in front of them is equivalent to that of a third-level genetic warrior. She possesses telekinesis and is a natural candidate to become a captain. This 1 million is totally worth it. This is the only way to purchase captives from the market through the Academy's channel. If you don't have a certain status through other channels, you won't be able to see such captives at all. After waiting for all the captives to stand in place, the middle-aged man pressed a few buttons on the smart terminal, and in an instant, the eyes of all the captives became dull. Then the smart terminal emitted a red light and scanned Feng Mo's entire body. Gradually, the captives' eyes regained their alertness. Owner. In an instant, 151 captives from different races bowed in unison and made sounds of great respect. It's done, Student Feng Mo. A microcontrol chip has been inserted into the brain of each of these 151 captives. It cannot be broken by the mental power of anyone other than a level 5 genetic warrior. I have transferred the control terminal systems of the 151 captives to your smart terminal. Now they belong to you. Feng Mo nodded, and then paid the balance on the smart terminal, which meant that the transaction was complete. After the inspection was completed in person, no further payments would be made in the future. Hello, General Al. The succubus looked at Feng Mo with some surprise. He actually called out her name, especially the title of General. Elplin, the Demon Galaxy, the succubi, dissatisfied with the rule and exploitation of the succubi by the local warlords in the Demon Galaxy, chose to revolt and establish an anti-demon corps. Unfortunately, the force that was established only lasted for 2 or 3 years. After the final battle, it disappeared. I didn't expect to end up in the captive market. During the 2 years of the uprising, I have fought in no less than 100 battles, both large and small. I once commanded a fleet with a T-3 as the main ship and hundreds of starships. I have a wealth of combat experience. Feng Mo told Elplin's story in detail. Hearing Feng Mo's stories about the past, Elplin recalled some memories, as if those events happened just yesterday. How's it going? General, do you want to talk to me? Elplin smiled calmly and said in a slightly hoarse voice, Since you know all about my experience, why did you choose me? Aren't you afraid that I might rebel? Of course I am afraid, but I want to make a deal with the general. How about it? Listening to Feng Mo's calm tone, Elplin was a little confused and asked, What deal? Let me introduce myself first. I'm Feng Mo. My main job is a starship commander, and my side job is a starship engineer. I can currently build a T-3 interstellar battleship by hand. I'm only 21 years old. So, General, do you want revenge? Do you want to rebuild the succubus kingdom? Looking at Elplin, who was lost in thought, Feng Mo continued to add, General, why don't you make a bet? Just bet on my future. The overall strength of the Demon Galaxy is not strong. It only needs 3 T-4 ships as the main ship and a fleet of 100 starships to sweep across the galaxy. I wonder if the general has confidence in me? I know that words are not enough. Please bring the crew with me, General. After Feng Mo finished speaking, he scanned the identities, opened the interstellar dock, and led everyone in. Looking at the huge monster in front of him, Elplin murmured, Did you design and build this yourself? Did you not use anyone's help during this process? Her tone was full of doubt about Feng Mo. Of course, this is one of my secrets. How about it, General? Are you willing to bet with me? I can guarantee that when my strength reaches the standard, the first thing I will do is to destroy the Demon Galaxy. How about it? Deal. From now on I will be your subordinate, dear Commander. This time, Elplin didn't think too much and spoke decisively. In the dock, more than 100 crew members sat on the ground, holding the lunch boxes in front of them and eating with relish. These artificially grown meals taste very delicious. These people have never had a decent meal since they became captives. Even before they became captives, they would have considered it a luxury to eat artificially grown meals. They usually eat synthetic food, which has no taste except for replenishing the nutrients needed by the body. Elplin used to be a fleet commander. Compared with other captives, she cared more about her manners. She chewed her food slowly and gracefully. Captain Al, after dinner, you will be responsible for arranging them to perform their respective duties and familiarize them with this T3 starship. This starship has just been built and has not yet been tested. When I was studying at the academy, I saw some of your battles in the library and studied your fighting style. That's why I recognized you. I hope we can cooperate better in the future. After hearing this, Elplin nodded, and only then did he realize that Fongimo was not just a talker. She had been in the captive market for 2 years, and no one bought her. This is because she was once the leader of a rebel army and everyone was afraid that she would rebel, and also because her fighting style was full of adventure. Some old nobles prefer their subordinates to fight steadily, and her style is destined to go against these nobles. After dinner, under Al's command, the crew entered the storm. Al selected 22nd level Gene warriors and came to the main control room with Fongimo. Fongimo sat on the captain's chair and handed a box of smart terminals to Al, saying, "I have registered your information in it. On this starship, you have the highest command authority except for me. From now on, you are the deputy captain of the storm. Distribute these smart terminals to the crew members." Al took the terminal and put it on his white arm, and said with a beautiful smile, "Thank you for your trust, Commander. I will not let you down." Fongimo nodded in satisfaction after hearing this, and then said, "This is the position I will assign to the crew. Only 100 crew members are needed to operate the storm. The remaining 50 crew members will serve as backup personnel for various positions. Let them get familiar with the working environment first." After Fongimo finished speaking, he first transferred 1 million Yunshan coins to AIR using the smart terminal and then continued, "I have already applied for a sailing request from the interstellar port and rented a berth at the port for a year. You can use the money I transferred to you to buy daily necessities with your crew after the trial voyage. From today on, you are no longer captives, but my crew members. As for food, you will be provided with 3 meals a day. Go to the dining area on time to collect them. Each person will be provided with 100 Yunshan coins for food allowance per month." As soon as Fongimo finished speaking, the whispers of the crew members were heard in the main control room. Each person would receive 100 Yunshan coins per month, which was a considerable amount of money. You have to know that when they were captives, they only had 1 meal a day at noon, and it was good enough to have 5 Yunshan coins for food expenses a month. Now it has increased 20 times, and they can't finish it at all. "Okay, Vice Captain Al, start the sea trial." Fongimo waved his hand to interrupt the crew members' whispers, and then gave orders. "Yes, Commander." At the same time, the navigation channel of the interstellar dock has been opened. "Storm is cleared to enter channel C3. A mechanical voice sounded from the dock. Fongimo sat in the captain's chair, glanced at the people doing their duties, and said lightly, "Set off." Vice Captain Al conveyed the order. "Start the Storm's engine and enter channel C3. The crew members in the main control room operated the Storm with some unfamiliarity. A few minutes later, the Storm sailed out of the channel in the interstellar dock. Since the bridge of the USS Tempest is a fully enclosed structure, it relies on radar image acquisition to project the external image of the starship into the main control room. Looking at the scene outside the starship, Fongimo was a little excited. This was the first time he looked at the starry sky from the captain's seat in the main control room. After the Storm sailed along the route out of Yunshan Star, it continued sailing at a speed of 100 knots for about 10 minutes and arrived at a rocky area. This area is under the jurisdiction of the Academy and is a good place to test the performance of starships. "Commander, we will conduct a sea trial training for the Storm next." Al looked at Fongimo and said, "Let's get started, Vice Captain Al. Don't say wind. It's good to have an experienced subordinate so that you don't have to worry about anything. Continue to sail on this course. The starship's engines are at full power output, and the speed is 200 star speeds. All cabins of the Storm are paying close attention to the ship's data. If there are any abnormalities, report them immediately. The sea trial training officially begins. The starship is traveling at high speed. This is a huge test for the newly built starship. When a starship is traveling at top speed, If there is anything wrong with its operation in any aspect, the starship will have to be returned to the factory for reconstruction. This is also what Feng Mo is most worried about. 10 minutes later. Report, the engine system is normal, the ship structure is stable, the energy is sufficient, the navigation is stable, there are no abnormalities. Especially the structural integrity field of the ship's shell. Even a T-4 class interstellar battleship is like this. As each cabin gave feedback one after another, Feng Mo breathed a sigh of relief. Now everything was stable. Commander, let's test the shield and weapons next. 3 hours later, Vice Captain Al looked at Feng Mo, stood up and saluted. Reporting to the commander, all the test and training programs of the Storm have been completed without any abnormalities. Your T-3 interstellar battleship is invincible among all the starships of the same level that I have seen, especially the weapon system. I didn't expect you to use the secondary guns of the T-4 class battleship as the main guns of the Storm. Let's go back, Feng Mo said with a smile, and at the same time he was full of anticipation for the upcoming starship showdown, and he couldn't wait to beat someone up. In the following time, Feng Mo and Al and other crew members lived and ate in the Storm, familiarizing themselves with the starship's operating procedures, and at the same time, a large amount of supplies were transported into the starship. More than 400,000 Yunshan coins were spent in 3 days, and Feng Mo felt heartbroken. He originally had more than 8 million Yunshan coins, and later borrowed 10 million. Among them, he spent more than 8 million Yunshan coins on building the T-3 Storm, more than 3 million on purchasing crew members such as AI, and more than 400,000 on terminals and other materials. The total amount is more than 12 million. At this time, there are only 6 million Yunshan coins left in Feng Mo's account. It seems that he has to find a way to make money. On September 1st, the first day of school, Feng Mo came to the classroom early. At this time, Wang Chongsheng was stretching his neck to look at the classroom door. When he saw Feng Mo coming, he waved quickly. Mo, how's it going? Have you got the starship? If not, use mine. Feng Mo walked up to Wang Chongsheng, clenched his fist and lightly hit his shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, I've already prepared it. By the way, Lao Wang, I want you to help me with something." "No problem with that, but I need a reward. Remember the star network I accidentally entered last time? You have to give me the address of the star network so I can criticize it." Wang Chongsheng looked at Feng Mo with a smile. "You really love to learn. No problem. I'll make a copy for you to critique." Feng Mo thought for a while and made up his mind. "Okay, let's get down to business. Is your aunt's family involved in the starship arms trade? I have a blueprint of a T-2 starship that I developed myself. I would like to ask you to make an appointment with your aunt to see if she has any ideas. My buddy is very short of money recently. Please help me. But it's not urgent. Wait until after the duel of Starship Number 3, and then you can contact me. I will give you a big surprise then." Wang Chongqing knew that Feng Mo had used his spare time to pass the exam for a junior starship engineer, but he still had doubts about him designing a T-2 starship. But he would not question or inquire, but nodded seriously and asked, "Just saying hello, making an appointment? Or do you need my help to smooth things over?" "Just saying hello and making an appointment is enough. Nothing else is needed." Feng Mo knew that if he asked, even if it was just to help smooth things over and sell the T-2 starship blueprints directly without looking at the design, Wang Chongsheng would agree and make it happen. But Feng Mo couldn't do that, and he had great confidence in this T-2 starship blueprint. He exchanged this T-2 starship blueprint from the Xinhua Points Mall with 100 points. Previously, Feng Mo had forgotten about the mission reward in order to recruit crew members and familiarize himself with the performance of the starship. I remembered it the day before school started and quickly claimed the task reward, which opened the Points Mall and gave me 100 points. The Points Mall contains various blueprints of starships, mechas, and recipes for genetic medicines, but there are only a few items that can be exchanged with Feng Mo's 100 points. Short of money, he thought of selling starship design drawings. As he was a junior starship engineer, he was not afraid of attracting attention by taking out the starship drawings. And 100 points can be used to exchange for a T-2 starship blueprint. After Wang Chongqing heard this, he was obviously relieved, then patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, Mo. After watching the starship duel, I will invite my aunt to the academy so that you can meet her in real life." September 3rd. 1 p.m. At the interstellar dock under the jurisdiction of Yunshan Interstellar Military Academy. The area for the duel between the two had been arranged in advance. It was the rocky area where Feng Yimou had previously tried sailing, and it was the territory under the jurisdiction of the Academy. This is a place specially used for students' starship trials and starship duels. At this time, this starship duel is also being broadcast live, which is the routine of starship duels in the Academy. In the senior class of the conducting department, the teacher did not give a lecture today. Instead, he specifically tuned into the live broadcast channel and called on the whole class to watch it. One reason was to encourage everyone to cheer for Feng Yimou, and the other was to explain the knowledge of Star Wars in detail to everyone. When will Feng Yimou and Jiang Wei's starship duel begin? I read the Academy announcement. It starts at 1 p.m. It's almost time. According to the duel rules, the two starships should have already set off from the interstellar dock. Look, this is Jiang Wei's starship, the T3 Peregrine-class Star Destroyer. This starship is the signature of our Yunshan Empire's T3 starships, and its speed is 20% faster than similar starships. I heard that the official price of this starship is as high as 42 million Yunshan coins, and only the trading companies under the Empire have the right to sell it. Ordinary people have to wait in line for at least 3 years to buy it. It's over now. Can Feng Yimou hold on this time? The students in the conducting department's Class 1 were whispering to each other, some cheering for Feng Yimou, while others were pessimistic about him. At this time, the screen showed Feng Yimou's starship, causing everyone in the class to exclaim, because they had never seen it before, and there was no data about this starship in the Imperial database. Just by looking at the length of the starship and the caliber of its main guns, one can infer that this is a T3 interstellar battleship that has never been seen before. Is this the surprise you want to give me? Wang Chongqing thought to himself as he sat in the classroom and watched the unfamiliar starship on the live broadcast screen. At this time, in the live broadcast, the referee team began to contact the captains of each starship, and 2 video screens appeared in the live broadcast. On one side is the bridge scene of the T3 Peregrine-class Star Destroyer. Jiang Wei is dressed in luxurious aristocratic clothes, holding a red wine glass in his hand, with his legs crossed, looking very comfortable. A show-off. Wang Chongsheng, who was watching the live broadcast, cursed in a low voice, "This kid is really good at pretending to be cool today, and there are actually people who fall for it. Isn't it strange?" Next to Jiang Wei stood a middle-aged man in military uniform. From his temperament, one could tell that he was a retired military officer. On the other side, Feng Yimou was wearing a school uniform and sitting in the captain's seat, while the succubus L was wearing a black combat uniform and standing behind him. This is a succubus. My brother is so lucky. Wang Chongqing saw this and laughed sinisterly in a low voice, while sighing that Feng Yimou knew how to play. He didn't know what Vice Captain L had experienced in the past. He was not sure whether he would be able to laugh if he knew. Feng Yimou from the first class of the Senior Command Department, Jiang Wei from the second class of the Senior Command Department. The rules of the duel are now read out. Except that both starships are not allowed to leave the star field of the stone field, there are no other rules for this starship duel. The battle ends when one side surrenders, or the starship loses its combat effectiveness. After the referee announces the result of the duel, both parties please stop the duel immediately and do not attack. Are both parties clear about the rules of the duel? Clear. After Jiang Wei finished speaking, he elegantly took a sip of the red wine in the glass, with a comfortable expression as if he didn't care about Feng Yimou at all. The Empire's top T3 destroyers plus experienced retired officers gave him the advantage, and he really didn't know how to lose. He is sure to win this starship duel. Understood. Feng Yimou answered seriously. He couldn't wait to beat someone up. Okay. The duel officially begins. After the referee team finished speaking, a red circle appeared on the star maps of the 2 starships. This was the range within which the 2 starships could move. At this time, the referee team closed the video windows of both sides and the duel began. Jiang Wei held up his glass and looked at the deputy captain beside him and said, "Captain Zhang, the goal is to destroy the enemy starship. If it can cause an accident, my father and I will be very satisfied. At that time, you can serve as the commander of my fleet." Although Jiang Wei appears to be cynical and competitive, he is definitely not without ferocity, and he understands the principle of not killing the snake after hitting it. In the past, he and Feng Yimou only had verbal quarrels, but now that it has developed into a starship duel, don't blame him for being ruthless. Deputy Captain Zhang is a retired officer that Jiang Wei's father specially requested from the military. He once served as the deputy captain of AT-4 starship in a fleet of the Imperial military. Don't worry, Master Jiang. I promise you that the enemy starship will not be able to return to the interstellar port. The opponent on the opposite side was a down-and-out noble, and even if he was driving AT-3 starship, he had enough confidence to defeat the opponent. On the other side, the Bridge of the Storm. Feng Yimou looked at Al and said, "How is it? The vice captain on the other side must be an officer of the Imperial fleet. Are you confident?" "Commander, we must destroy the enemy starship." Al has full confidence in the storm. Feng Yimou was excited. After all, this was his first starship duel. However, he had no experience in Star Wars, so he could only authorize Vice Captain Al to command the storm. 50 knots of star speed. With Feng Yimou's authorization, Deputy Captain Al began to command the battle. Feng Yimou took advantage of the time when approaching the enemy starship to open the smart terminal and call up the information page of the storm. T-3 Storm-class interstellar battleship armor strength, 330 units ship data, 800 by 180 by 148 speed, 200 knots warp drive, level 3 star shield energy, level 3, 100% weapons, T-3 turbo laser main gun ×1, T-3 laser cannon secondary gun ×3, T-2 close defense laser rapid fire secondary gun ×30. The storm is equipped with 3 weapons, the first 2 of which are heavy weapons with great power. If they hit the enemy ship head-on, one shot can destroy most of the star shield energy. Feng Yimou opened the information of the opposite side's T-3 Peregrine-class star destroyer, and after taking a rough glance, he shook his head. The 2 starships were not comparable. The armor strength of the T-3 Peregrine is only 170, and it is equipped with only 2 types of weapons, a laser cannon main gun and 20 close and defense laser rapid-fire secondary guns. The main gun on the T-3 Peregrine can only be used as a secondary gun on the Tempest. Our advantage now is that the opponent has no idea about the Tempest's information, while the information of the T-3 Peregrine is publicly available on the official website. Vice Captain Al's first order was to sail at 50 knots, probably to confuse the enemy, show weakness to the enemy, and lure the enemy deep into the enemy's territory in order to achieve a fatal close-range attack. This is called taking the enemy by surprise and attacking them when they are unprepared. After roughly understanding Al's strategy, Feng Yimou felt relieved, sat upright in his chair, and waited for the show to begin. Soon, the 2 starships appeared within the detection range of each other's radar. At this time, the opponent's T-3 Peregrine Falcon made a new move, and the speed of the starship suddenly increased, reaching a maximum speed of 180 knots. Feng Yimou almost laughed out loud when he saw the other party speeding up. He knew without thinking that this must be Jiang Wei's order. The teacher once said in class that rashly advancing at full speed is a taboo on the battlefield. The other party obviously didn't take the storm seriously, which was why Feng Yimou didn't choose to dock the starship at the interstellar dock, but went directly to the battle zone in order to ambush him. Soon, the 2 starships came within the firing range, but the storm was still moving slowly, as if it was waiting for something. Warning: enemy starship laser weapon attack detected. I've been waiting for you. Al raised his lips slightly and gave the order. The storm, turn left at full speed. In the live broadcast, everyone saw the shapes of 2 starships on the radar map and knew that they were about to start a battle. In the picture, the first to open fire was the laser cannon of the T-3 Peregrine-class star destroyer. Everyone saw that the main gun of the T-3 Peregrine was already shining, which was a sign of an imminent launch. 10 seconds later, a laser was fired from the barrel and headed straight for the storm. But a scene that shocked everyone appeared. The storm instantly accelerated and turned left. Looking at its flight trajectory, it drew a large semicircle with the T-3 Peregrine as the origin in just 5 seconds. This directly caused the beam fired from the T-3 Peregrine's main gun to fly past the edge of the storm's starshield and miss the storm. The live broadcast projected a data detection of the sailing speed. Everyone saw that the storm had just increased its speed from 50 knots to 200 knots in just 5 seconds. Everyone in front of the live broadcast was in an uproar, as they all knew what 200 knots of star speed meant. According to Imperial data, the maximum speed of a T-3 starship is 200 knots, which means that the storm has reached the maximum speed that a T-3 starship can theoretically reach. Why is it called a theory? Because there is no T-3 starship in the entire Empire or even in the Human Federation that can reach such a speed. Among them, the T-3 Peregrine is the fastest starship after the storm, which is why Jiang Wei has such great confidence. After completing the semicircle movement, the storm turned left again and rushed directly towards the T-3 Peregrine Falcon. Launch the turbolaser main gun and prepare the cannon laser secondary gun. Deputy Captain L gave the order. Turbolaser main gun charging, 10.91.0, charging complete. At this time, at the bow of the storm, a 2,600 mm caliber gun muzzle lit up with a bright light. Seeing such a huge cannon, the referees before the live broadcast could no longer sit still and stood up one after another. This is a 2,600 mm turbolaser main gun, which is usually equipped on the Empire's T-4 class star battleships. This T-3 starship is equipped with such a huge gun and can reach a top speed of 200 knots. It's really terrifying. No, the enemy's ship is a T-3 starship. How can it be equipped with a 2,600 mm laser main gun? Quick, quick, quick. Evade at full speed. All close and rapid-fire cannons are ready to intercept. No need to save energy. Turn the star shield to maximum power. Deputy Captain Zhang gave the order with a stern expression, his clenched fists covered with sweat. In the interstellar age, radar systems are extremely advanced, and it is difficult for a targeted starship to avoid being hit unless it is traveling at high speed. At this moment, Jiang Wei looked pale, which was totally inconsistent with his comfortable expression just now. His theoretical grades were also above average in the class, so he naturally knew what a 2,600 mm diameter turbolaser main gun meant. At this time, the T-3 Peregrine Falcon they were driving was the prey under the hunter's gun. The storm, the ship. AI Air first smiled at Fengimo and said, "Commander, I haven't commanded a starship in more than 2 years. I'm a little itchy and want to show off my skills to you, Commander. Stop firing." Laser cannon charged and ready. AL's cold voice came from the main control room. However, since the storm's top speed is much higher than that of the T-3 Peregrine, it can easily approach the enemy starship. The storm came to an abrupt stop within 5 seconds, and the distance between it and the T-3 Peregrine was less than 100 kilometers, which is considered a close encounter in interstellar space. At the same time, the 2,600 mm turbolaser main gun roared out. Due to the effect of the structural integrity force field, neither the emergency stop nor the main gun firing of the storm had any impact on the starship. Everything looks very calm on the screen. There is no excitement of continuous artillery fire, nor the reaction force of the starship tilting up when firing. At this moment, a mechanical warning sounded in the Peregrine Falcon's bridge. All close and rapid-fire guns fire barges to intercept. Deputy Captain Zhang calmly issued an interception order, but he also knew that a turbolaser cannon of this caliber could not be intercepted, and he could only reduce the power of the enemy's main gun. I saw a beam of light falling directly on the hull of the T-3 Peregrine, and then blocked by a green light curtain. Warning, the star shield energy is 28% remaining. The bridge of the T-3 Peregrine vibrated. Although the turbolaser cannon of the storm did not destroy the star shield of the T-3 Peregrine, the huge impact force was not something that the structural integrity force field could withstand. Report to the commander, Vice Captain, the 3 laser cannons have been charged. Please give instructions. Al calmly gave the order. Start the right engine and have the storm sail around the enemy ship at a speed of 200 knots, adopting a high-speed hunting mode. Each laser cannon is aimed at the enemy ship's bridge, and they will fire in sequence every 10 seconds. L calmly gave the order, looking at the T-3 Peregrine Falcon with a slightly bloodthirsty look. The starship commanded by her L must eat meat. Fengimo looked at the high-spirited Deputy Captain L and thought to himself, this is really a show of skill. First he showed off his emergency stop, fired close to the enemy, and then started showing off his high-speed hunting. The so-called circling the enemy ship and high-speed hunting mode is actually a tactic used when the speed of one's own starship crushes the enemy starship, and it is more effective when the enemy starship is stopped. While circling, keep your own starships and a small number of starships in the enemy fleet within the crossfire range. Actually, none of the above words are useful. This mode is simply called kite flying. Faced with the storm's circling attack, everyone in the bridge of the T-3 Peregrine Falcon turned pale, and Deputy Captain Zhang had already seen that the other side was showing off their skills. Speed up, enter extreme speed mode, charge the laser cannon, and get ready. Captain, the laser cannon is now in cooling time. Continuing to charge and fire will damage the barrel. The crew below gave a reminder. At this moment of life and death, I can't care about anything else. Recharge. At a command from Deputy Captain Zhang, the T-3 Peregrine Falcon suddenly accelerated, and at the same time, the laser cannon mounted on the ship shone again. At this time in front of the live screen, the judges, teachers, and students saw a shocking scene. Two huge ships were traveling at high speed, with brilliant light shining on their hulls and weapons. The storm took the lead in attacking, and the first laser cannon roared out. The beam went straight to the bridge of the T-3 Peregrine and was finally blocked by a green light curtain. Less than 10 seconds later, the second laser cannon whizzed out. This time, the green light curtain failed to stop it and was directly shattered by the beam. The cannon gently landed on the bridge of the T-3 Peregrine Falcon. The third laser cannon burst out again, and this shot was full of drama because it hit directly on the T-3 Peregrine's cannon that was charging. Even Feng Yimou didn't expect this to be such a coincidence. The second laser cannon did not have much power left after shattering the enemy's star shield, and the damage caused to the enemy's bridge was limited. If the third shot is to cause maximum damage, it will undoubtedly hit the enemy starship's bridge and armory. Hitting the bridge of a high-speed starship is very difficult, even with the most advanced radar system. But here comes the drama. This shot did not hit the bridge or the armory, but it caused more damage to the starship than hitting the first two parts. This laser cannon shot directly knocked the T-3 Peregrine half to pieces. Feng Yimou could clearly see that a gap of at least 30 meters was blasted open in the bow armor of the T-3 Peregrine. This was the damage caused by the secondary explosion. From time to time, flames from the secondary explosion could be seen inside. Moreover, Al gave the order at the first moment to strike back at the enemy, and the storm headed straight for the enemy starship. 30 close-range rapid-fire laser cannons had been fully charged. If the fighting continues, the T-3 Peregrine Falcon will probably be completely scrapped, and it will even be a question whether all the crew members inside can survive. At this time, inside the bridge of the T-3 Peregrine-class Star Destroyer. Alert! The damage to the ship's armor is 30%. Alarm! Alarm! A series of ship damage alarms were heard. Deputy Captain Zhang's face turned pale. He loosened his clenched fists helplessly and advised Jiang Wei, who was pale beside him. Master Jiang, admit defeat. We no longer have the ability to fight back. If we continue to fight, I am a rough guy and I am fine, but I am afraid I might hurt you. At this moment, Jiang Wei felt his pants getting cold, and after hearing what Deputy Captain Zhang said, he quickly shouted, I admit defeat. I surrender. After Jiang Wei surrendered, the referee announced that Feng Mo's storm had won. At the same time, they contacted the storm and asked it to stop attacking. Well done. It makes my blood boil. This is my brother. Wang Chengsheng, who was watching the live broadcast in the classroom, stood up, raised his arms and kept shouting after seeing Jiang Wei surrender. In the corner of the class, a sweet-looking girl with twin ponytails also jumped up. Anyone who saw this face would say she was adorable. But seeing her figure, some LS will exclaim. It turns out that this is a girl who is nearly 1.8 meters tall, with a curvy figure and a pure lowly face. See, big ships and big guns are the truth. This is the starship I dream of. I must get it. Yu Xiaoming, a lowly girl with twin ponytails, looked at the storm on the live broadcast screen with shining eyes, and she didn't even care about the tears flowing from the corners of her mouth. The other teachers and students were all shocked. Is this the end? It took less than 10 minutes from the time the two starships entered the combat range to the end. a time that can only be achieved in a crushing victory in a starship duel. When Al commanded the storm and amazed everyone, Feng Yimou sat in the captain's seat and waved his fist. Good, the main and secondary guns took down the T3 Peregrine in one round. Well done, Al. There was also an element of luck involved. All 4 shots hit the target, and the last shot directly hit the laser cannon that was being charged, causing a secondary explosion that affected multiple systems on the enemy starship. Al was standing next to Feng Yimou and analyzed. Luck? Feng Yimou, who was slow to realize the word luck, couldn't help but think of his own talent when he heard the word luck. When there are more female soldiers than male soldiers on a starship, a lucky bonus will be triggered. In this case, wouldn't it be possible to hit the target every time I fire my gun in the future? I dare not think about it. I dare not think about it. This has yet to be verified. But if you calculate it this way, this talent is simply a divine skill. Feng Yimou has won the starship duel. Please immediately stop all offensive actions and return to the interstellar dock. The voices of the referee team rang out in the main control room. Okay, Feng Yimou responded. Everything is over. It's time to return. As for Jiang Wei's T3 Peregrine Falcon, the Academy's towing starship will naturally handle it. At the interstellar dock of the Yunshan Interstellar Military Academy, the storm slowly docked at Pier 3. Feng Yimou sat in the captain's chair and sighed. The controversy surrounding this interstellar duel is far from over. Jiang Wei will not give up. From now on, there will be open and covert fighting between the two sides, and even his father will get involved personally. But it doesn't matter. Without going through hardships, how can you smell the fragrance? Because the storm did not suffer any damage to its hull during the battle this time. No maintenance work was required after replenishing its energy. After giving the crew sufficient freedom to move around, Feng Yimou walked off the storm alone. At this time at the interstellar dock, Wang Chongsheng, with a helpless look on his face, stood at the front of the crowd with a tall lowly with twin ponytails. When he saw Feng Yimou, Wang Chongsheng immediately put on a smile and went forward to hug Feng Yimou. You are worthy of being my brother. You did a great job. You made him, who was usually very popular in the academy, suppress Jiang Wei's arrogance. Feng Yimou patted Wang Chongsheng on the shoulder, and they both looked to the side. At this time, the T3 Peregrine Falcon was being moored at Pier Number 4 by the consignment starship. Deputy Captain Zhang helped Jiang Wei get off the starship. As the saying goes, enemies become jealous of each other when they meet. At this moment, Jiang Wei looked at Feng Yimou and Wang Chongsheng chatting and laughing, and a blush appeared on his pale face. He forcefully opened the hands that were supporting Deputy Captain Zhang and strode towards Feng Yimou. Feng Yimou, do you dare to fight me again? The clay Buddha still had some anger. Feng Yimou knew that he had to fight Jiang Wei. He glanced at him and said, How do you want to fight? After hearing this, Jiang Wei clenched his fists, and his bones and tendons crackled. Let's fight here. You and I are both first-level genetic warriors. With so many teachers and classmates watching, let's compete in fist and foot skills. Feng Yimou gently pushed Wang Chongsheng away, crossed his arms and said, Jiang Wei, I have always been a person who will not offend others unless they offend me. In the past, you always provoked me and quarreled with me. I am very troubled by you always causing trouble for me, so let's solve it all at once. I will accompany you to the end today. Jiang Wei walked up to Feng Yimou and said with a sly smile, A poor man like you who was born by a mother but not raised by one is worthy of accompanying me to the end? Bang! Feng Yimou slapped Jiang Wei directly on the face, and Jiang Wei's head was knocked down by the huge force of the palm. Feng Yimou said expressionlessly, Your mouth is so foul. Do your family members know? If they don't care about you, I will take good care of you on behalf of your father. You're taking care of me on behalf of my father? Jiang Wei got up from the ground. It didn't matter whether it hurt or not. He felt humiliated. It was more painful than killing him. Fortunately, he didn't lose his mind completely. The speed and strength of the slap just now made him realize the physical gap between him and Feng Yimou. Feng Yimou had reached the top of the first-level gene warrior. I'm gonna duck and kill you. Jiang Wei pretended to be angry. His eyes were full of anger, and he roared as he took out a silver pocket electromagnetic pulse gun from his pocket and fired. At this time, Feng Mo's eyes no longer had the calmness just now. The moment Jiang Wei took out the electromagnetic pulse gun, sweat broke out on his body. Extremely dangerous. But it was too late. In an instant, he seemed to see a smile on Jiang Wei's lips and heard Wang Chongqing's angry curses. At the critical moment, a black shadow appeared in front of Feng Yimou, blocking all the red beams emitted by the electromagnetic pulse gun. Then the figure flashed, and the electromagnetic pulse gun in Jiang Wei's hand instantly turned into parts and fell to the ground. Hearing the sound of heavy breathing, Feng Yimou perked up and looked in front of him. This was a combat armor, a type of exo-colonized armor. The materials used to make this type of armor are similar to those used to make starships, except that memory metal is added to it, allowing it to repair itself after being damaged. This type of armor is usually attached to the body surface of the genetic warrior, and when combined with individual firearms, it can be called a humanoid killing weapon. However, this type of armor is quite expensive, and it is not yet popular in the Empire, and there is no channel to purchase it. Feng Yimou came back to his senses and took a deep look at Jiang Wei, who was a little distraught opposite him. Jiang Wei taught Feng Yimou a lesson. It was he who made Feng Yimou understand what cruelty and ruthlessness meant. Feng Yimou has not had any parental guidance since he was 8 years old, and ultimately he cannot understand the meaning behind the word noble. These are the things he needs to learn. Feng Yimou had lived too smoothly for the previous 18 years and had never suffered any setbacks. This was the interstellar age, not the previous era of gun bans. On the other hand, Jiang Wei was pinned to the ground by 2 staff members of the college's law enforcement team. Feng Yimou, are you okay? Darn that jerk. He pulled out a gun and shot in the academy's territory. This time he won't be able to get away without bleeding. Yimou, you'd better think about how to propose conditions this time. Wang Chongqing walked up to Feng Yimou and whispered to him, except for those who entered this academy through the back door, no one is stupid enough to enter. Feng Yimou nodded after hearing this. Indeed, although Jiang Wei fired the gun, he did not kill anyone, so it could only be considered an attempted crime. With his father being the Earl, it would be very easy to turn a big thing into nothing as long as he paid enough. It's unrealistic for me to use this incident to kill Jiang Wei. It would be better for me to think about getting more benefits. At this time, the director of the academy, who had taken off his combat armor, waved his hand and had Jiang Wei taken away. He then looked at Feng Yimou and said, "Student Feng Yimou, this incident has a bad influence. The academy will investigate it thoroughly and give you an explanation within 3 days. Please go back to the dormitory and wait." Feng Yimou nodded when he heard this. This was his first close encounter with death. His back was already wet. He also needed to go back to the dormitory to change clothes. This would be a good opportunity for him to discuss the transaction of the starship blueprints with Wang Chongqing. Dormitory Building 369. After taking a shower and changing clothes, Feng Yimou walked into the living room and sat on the sofa. He took a sip of the hot tea on the table to relax himself. He said to Wang Chongqing beside him, "Old Wang, how is the matter I discussed with you going? Don't worry. My aunt originally said that she wanted to meet you on the StarNet, but I sent her the video of the starship duel just now and told her that the starship was designed and built by you. After watching the video, my aunt immediately expressed her desire to meet you offline to discuss the matter in detail as a sign of respect. She is currently on Yunshan Star and will probably be at the academy soon. You have such skills and have kept them secret from me for so many years. Tell me how you are going to compensate me." Wang Chongqing winked at Feng Yimou and teased him. "Don't worry, you will get your share. I promise you that when you build a fleet in the future, I will personally design a main ship for you. Isn't that good enough?" Feng Yimou said with a smile. Bang! Wang Chongqing patted Feng Yimou's shoulder, jumped up and said happily, "That's very kind. I've already said in advance that I will build a fleet in 3 years at the earliest. By then, I want the blueprints of the T4 interstellar battleship. Feng Yimou can now design T3 interstellar battleships independently, and he is so powerful. I think 3 years will be enough for him to make further progress." Wang Chongqing's mind was clattering, and he thought that this childhood friend was a good friend. Ding ding. The smart terminal is ringing. It must be my aunt. I'll go pick her up. Please wait. Wang Chongqing glanced at the smart terminal, said something hurriedly, and ran out of the dormitory. "Master, your childhood friend Mr. Wang Chongqing is knocking on the door. Would you like to open it?" A mechanical voice sounded. Open the door, little Y. Feng Yimou stood up and shouted as he walked towards the door. When the door opened, Wang Chongsheng was seen following a beautiful middle-aged woman with a very elegant temperament. The woman had a dignified and gentle appearance, without the jewels and precious stones like those nouveau riche outside. She was wearing a plain long skirt that set off her good figure. She was holding a gift box wrapped in red leather in her hand. Just standing at the door, Feng Yimou felt a sense of nobility coming towards him. You must be Mr. Feng Yimou, right? I am Xiaoxing's great-aunt. You can just call me Zhang Yu. I always hear Xiaoxing mention your profound knowledge. Today I finally see you in person. This is my first visit, so I hope you will accept my modest gift. A pleasant voice was heard, and the aunt raised the gift box in her hand slightly after she finished speaking. Feng Yimou was not arrogant, so he quickly took the gift box and said politely, "Thank you, auntie. I always hear Chongsheng talking about his elegant and dignified auntie. Chongsheng and I are childhood friends and brothers. You don't have to be so formal. Just call me Xiaoma. Don't blame me for overstepping the boundaries. I will call you auntie. Please come in." Feng Yimou led the two into the dormitory. After the three of them sat down, he asked the intelligent robot to prepare tea. Then Feng Yimou got straight to the point. I guess my aunt has heard about my family's situation. We are living in financial difficulty now, and we are about to graduate and urgently need some Yunshan coins to build a fleet, so I can only sell a T2 starship that I once designed. Seeing the aunt nod, Feng Yimou continued. The core selling point of this T2 starship is that it is durable and sturdy, which is the most popular feature among civilians. I believe you also know that starship technology is updated very quickly. Some wealthy families have already started using T2 starships at home, so this selling point will be infinitely expanded. There is no point in saying more. I will send you the information and design drawings of this starship now. You can ask the researchers in the laboratory to check it. After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he transmitted the information and design drawings through the smart terminal. Of course, from a business perspective, the core design was reserved and could only be transmitted after the contract was signed. Help me take a look at this starship blueprint, technology, and data, and give me a reliable report in an hour. After receiving the data and drawings, my aunt communicated with the researchers for a few words and then hung up the video. Among the three, Wang Chongsheng was the lively guy who livened up the atmosphere, so it wasn't boring at all. During the period, the aunt also took out the video of the Fengma starship duel to watch. By the way, he also pointed out that Elle was showing off his skills, which made Feng Yimou look at her with a new respect. It turned out that the female head of a wealthy family was no pushover and could even recite knowledge related to starship command. This is the foundation. None of the wealthy families that can be passed down for more than 3 generations are simple. In my heart, I once again raised the importance of Jiang Wei to a higher level. An hour later, the video came on time. Mr. Zhang, although the core technology of this T2 starship blueprint is not there, it is definitely feasible, and this T2 Zebra-class Star Destroyer has a very high cost-effectiveness. The core is strong and durable, and its performance is not low. If it is put on the market, it will definitely be a starship product that can become a hit. The chief scientific engineer of the laboratory, an old man in a white coat, said with a little excitement. After Zhang Yu hung up the video, he looked at Feng Yimou with admiration and said, I want the design drawings of this starship. Name your price. Feng Yimou thought for a moment and then said, the price of starship design blueprints on the market is now transparent. It is basically calculated based on the price of 1,000 units sold by the Starship Arms Trading Company. The approximate price of a T2 Star Destroyer is around 4 to 5 million. Let's take a middle price of 4.5 million Yunshan coins. The price of 1,000 units is 4.5 billion. Multiply that by 18%, and that's the company's net profit. Multiply that by 5%, and that's the price of the blueprint. It comes out to about 40.5 million Yunshan coins. Feng Yimou paused deliberately after he finished speaking. Zhang Yu took over the conversation and said, How about this, Xiaomo? Let's round it up. I'll give you 50 million Yunshan coins, and the copyright of this T2 Zebra-class Star Destroyer blueprint will belong to me. What do you think? Feng Mo sighed in his heart. This is a smart man. He laid so much groundwork before, with core selling points and analysis, just to ask for a higher price. It was obvious that my aunt had listened to all these words and had a good grasp of the ways of the world. Thank you very much for your sponsorship, Andy. This money is very important. Xiaomo will not be polite to Andy. Let's sign the contract first. After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he took the contract that had just been printed out by the intelligent robot and handed it to his aunt. There were 3 copies, one for Feng Yimou, one for his aunt, and 1 copy to be sent to the Copyright Bureau as a backup for the design drawing transaction. After both parties signed, Feng Yimou passed all the design drawings of the T2 Zebra-class Star Destroyer to his aunt, and then after his aunt transferred 50 million Yunshan coins on the spot, the deal was considered complete. Afterwards, Feng Yimou chatted with him for a while. Then the aunt and Wang Chongshin got up to say goodbye, and Feng Yimou accompanied them to the door. After closing the door, Feng Yimou breathed a sigh of relief. With this money, the security of the territory would be able to be improved by 2 levels. After his parents disappeared when he was 8 years old, the territory's defense equipment and fleet had never been updated. Nowadays, it is still using a mixed fleet of T2 starships and T1 starships, as well as a defense system, but it is just a T2 defense system. This is too shabby for a former earldom and current viscountdom. There is no other way, who made him poor. At the beginning of the school year, the teacher sent out a notice that the practical internship would begin on October 1st, so that the students could be prepared. During this period, they could skip classes and move freely. Now that he had money, Feng Yimou was thinking of returning to the territory. But before going back, I have to resolve Jiang Wei's issue. I hope his father won't make him wait too long. 9 a.m. on September 5th. Feng Yimou received a notice from the dean of the college, asking him to go to the director's office in the main teaching building as the matter with Jiang Wei had been resolved. Not bad. The discussion was completed in just over a day. It seems that Jiang Wei is still highly valued in the clan. After Feng Yimou changed into the academy's combat uniform, he walked out of the dormitory and came to the teaching building and took the elevator to the office of Director 907. Knock, knock, knock. Feng Yimou knocked on the door. Come in. After hearing this, Feng Yimou pushed the door and entered the office. At this time, there were 2 groups of 5 people in the room. Sitting on the left are a group of 3 people, including Director Liu from the college and Feng Mojiangwei's class teacher. Sitting on the right were another group of 2 people, Jiang Wei and a middle-aged man. Judging from his attire, a well-ironed suit, slicked back hair, and meticulousness, Feng Yimou deduced that he should be a butler. Director Liu, Teacher Xing, the old class teacher. After Feng Yimou entered the office, he greeted all the teachers one by one, and then sat on the 4th chair on the left. Director Liu, who was in the lead, nodded at Feng Yimou kindly and said, "Let me introduce you. This is Feng Yimou, a student in the 1st class of the command department of the academy. He is also a junior starship engineer. He used his vacation to independently design and build a T3 class interstellar battleship. He is an absolute pride of the academy and a treasure of the academy." Director Liu said a lot of things, the core point of which was that these were high-end talents from our college, different from that idiot Jiang Wei. As for compensation, it's up to you. And don't even mention low-quality compensation. Feng Yimou was very fond of Director Liu, who had saved his life at this critical moment. Moreover, he was now fighting for his own interests, so Feng Yimou naturally supported him 100%. So every time Director Liu spoke, Feng Yimou nodded naturally, as if he was listening carefully. Director Liu glanced at Feng Yimou out of the corner of his eye. Seeing how serious he was, he felt even more satisfied and quietly labeled Feng Yimou a humble genius. The entire office could only hear Director Liu talking crazily. 10 minutes later, as Director Liu picked up the teacup, the talking finally ended. The butler on the other side was obviously relieved, and then he ignored Director Liu and said directly to Feng Yimou, "Hello, Viscount Feng. I am the chief butler of the Jiang family. My name is Jiang Tianran. Now I will tell you about the compensation that the Jiang family will give you. 10 million Yunshan coins and a resource planet in the Xianyan Galaxy." After Jiang Tianran finished speaking, Feng Yimou frowned slightly. It was obvious that this compensation was not enough, but he did not refute it immediately. Instead, he secretly glanced at Director Liu. Director Liu, who received Feng Mo's signal, held his head high and said, "It's not enough. Who can I send with just 10 million Yunshan coins? I need at least 100 million, and 5 resource planets. This is a big mouth opened by the tiger. It is taking all the property of a small family in one bite. Even the Jiang family will feel distressed. The total value of these resources is more than 200 million Yunshan coins, which is enough to buy 2 T4 starships. If you build your own ships like Fengmo, it will be enough to build 20 storm ships. Impossible. This compensation price is beyond my authority. I don't even need to report it to the master. It won't be approved. Zhang Tianran refused. As the saying goes, ask for a high price and pay on the spot. After a series of arguments, Director Liu and Zhang Tianran finally reached a consensus. 10 million Yunshan coins plus 3 resource planets in the Xianyan Galaxy. There is a story behind these 3 resource planets. They are right next to Fengmo's territory and can be connected to the 3 planets of the Feng family in a line. These were once planets of the Feng family, but were sold by their parents. Now that Fengmo has taken it back, it can be regarded as preserving the territorial integrity. After the negotiation, the housekeeper took the dejected Jiang Wei out of the office. Jiang Wei didn't say a word throughout the whole process, with his head half lowered, and there were still marks of the slap on his face. Fengmo sneered in his heart after seeing this and said, "Just pretend. What era is it now? The interstellar era. Can a slap mark be left on your face? Not to mention a slap, even a broken arm or leg can be reattached intact, or a pseudo-biomass can be molded into the shape of an arm or leg for you to reattach." However, this incident also gave Fengmo a reminder that the dog that bites doesn't bark, and the longer Jiang Wei remains silent, the more severe his revenge will be. Under Director Liu's guidance, Fengmo escaped from the office, turned on the smart terminal, and found that the Jiang family had completed the transfer of 3 planets on the star network and the money had arrived. As expected of a big family, it is efficient. Fengmo returned to the dormitory happily, packed his things, and headed straight for the interstellar dock. T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship, Bridge. The coordinates are starport F001 in the Xianyan Galaxy. We will first go to the Stargate of the Yunshan Galaxy, then go through the Stargate to the Stargate of the Xianyan Galaxy, and finally arrive at starport F001. The total journey is expected to take 2 hours and 40 minutes. Deputy Captain Al stood aside and reported the route plan. The 3rd-level warp engine is starting up and will soon enter navigation mode. All crew members, please enter deep sea mode. In fact, with the structural integrity field of the storm, coupled with the closed bridge forming a subspace and the physical fitness of Fengmo and others, there is no need to enter the deep sea mode. But we have to be safer when doing things. It's only more than 2 hours anyway. After entering the deep sea mode, our consciousness can also enter the star network and surf the internet. The route has been planned. We will enter the acceleration phase in 3 minutes. All crew members, please enter deep sea mode. At this moment, mechanical sounds were heard throughout the starship, and deep blue light flashed. There is a hibernation capsule next to everyone's chair in the main control room. This is so that after leaving warp speed, the crew can quickly return to their posts and resume combat mode. At this time, 90% of the storm's energy will be supplied to the warp engine, and the starship itself will only maintain a low energy consumption state. Fengmo lay flat in the hibernation capsule, his entire body covered with light blue liquid, and 2 blue modules appeared in front of his eyes. Starnet, hibernate. Fengmo clicked on the star network, and then he appeared in the dormitory. In the star network space, the main galaxies of the major empires were the background. Fengmo was from the Yunshan Empire, so he would naturally appear in the military academy. Moreover, this dormitory is exactly the same as the real one and can be used by him until graduation. Fengmo did not choose to go out for a stroll, but instead curled up on the soft sofa, watching a movie and enjoying the service of the intelligent robot. Time passed quickly, and when red light flashed in his eyes, it was a reminder that he was almost at the Star Gate. Storm's intelligent system prompts that warp speed navigation has ended, and we have arrived at the pre-made destination. We are now in autopilot mode. In the main control room, all the hibernation cabins opened automatically, and Al was the first to step out of the cabin. All crew members on the starship must return to their posts within 1 minute and check the data of all parts of the storm. Al gave the order immediately. Although Fengmo had rich theoretical knowledge, He had few opportunities to put it into practice, so he had been observing and learning from AL's commands. Apply for Stargate access. Destination is Xianyun Galaxy Stargate. Feng Yimou commanded. The application has been sent. The fee for using the 50,000 Yunshan coins is 20% off due to showing the commander's student information. 40,000 Yunshan coins have been paid. Pass permit issued. According to the pass certificate sent by the Stargate Management Office under the Yunshan Empire Military, Al gave the order for the storm to arrive at Gate No. 3. Feng Yimou saw rows of starships waiting to pass through the Stargate. There is no need to enter deep sea mode to use Stargate for jump. Stargate is similar to hyperspace jump technology, which can jump back and forth between multiple galaxies. The Stargate jump process was very fast. After the storm entered the Stargate, the surrounding universe seemed completely disappeared and was replaced by a colorful world. In just half a minute, the dark universe could be seen again. The advantage of Stargates is that they have greatly shortened the distance between galaxies, allowing the Empire to better control all galaxies under its command. At the same time, Stargates are also limited, and the number of jumps they can send at one time is capped. We have successfully arrived at the Xianyun Galaxy. We will enter warp speed again and are expected to arrive at Starport F001 in 45 minutes. Vice Captain Al commanded. The entire main control room became dark again. The hibernation capsule popped out, and Feng Yimou lay down in it, re-entering the star network. He had not finished watching his previous movie yet. In fact, in the universe, galaxies are all similar and are all composed of ordinary matter, and dark energy. Ordinary matter is composed of galaxies, stars, satellites, planets, etc. Feng Yimou didn't understand dark matter and dark energy, but he knew that dark matter seemed to be related to the armor of the T5 starship, and dark energy was related to the engine of the T5 starship. These were still very far away from him now. Commander, the storm has arrived at Starport F001. Deputy Captain Al reported after seeing Feng Yimou coming out of the hibernation capsule. Feng Yimou looked at the somewhat dilapidated starport in front of him, and his eyes felt a little sore. Ever since his parents disappeared, the entire territory has been supported by the old butler Feng Qingyang. But it is really not easy to maintain the territory expenses, support Feng Yimou's studies, and give the remaining profits to Feng Yimou to buy a starship. But now that he's back, everything will be fine. The Feng family used to be the undisputed dominant family in the Xianyun Galaxy, but after selling off their property, they became a destitute family. All kinds of planets in all galaxies of the Empire are divided into 5 levels according to the habitability index. The planet in front of us is the Feng family's ancestral land, planet numbered F001, also called the Xianyun main star. It is a level 3 life planet. Simply put, it is habitable, has air, fertile land, abundant resources, no extremely bad weather, and no need to build an energy shield. The resources of the Xianyun Galaxy are considered average in the Empire. There is only 1 level 3 life planet, 9 level 2 life planets, and 37 level 1 life planets in the entire galaxy. In the galaxy, planets are usually divided into 2 types. One is the life planet, and the other is the pure resource planet. The Xianyun Galaxy has a population of nearly 100 billion, 80% of whom are humans, and the rest are humanoids and beastmen. The main star of the Xianyun Galaxy is the territory of the Feng Yimou family, called the Xianyun main star, with the external number F001. The Xianyun main star is the planet where most of the nobles in the entire galaxy live, although the entire planet nominally belongs to Feng Yimou. But most of the land was leased to other nobles by his grandfather and parents, and the lease period was at least several hundred years, so it would be a long way for Feng Yimou to get the land back. And today, the mansion of the Xingfeng family, the Lord of Xianyun, is decorated with lights and colors, and their Lord Feng Yimou has returned. It is said that the territory will be expanded from 1 life, 2 resources, and 3 planets to 1 life, 5 resources, and 6 planets. The territory has expanded by twice, with more resource planets, and their quality of life will also improve accordingly. Feng Yimou informed the butler of this news in advance and asked him to pass it on to the people below. The Feng family has been in decline for a long time, and it is time for some exciting news to be announced. At Pier Number 3 at Xianyun Starport, the storm slowly docked. Feng Yimou led off the starship and saw from afar the butler leading everyone to greet them. Yang Bo, thank you for your hard work over the years. Feng Yimou quickly walked a few steps to the butler, and looking at the other's slightly gray hair, a trace of heartache flashed in his eyes. Butler Feng Qingyang was once one of the guards beside Feng Mo's grandfather. He was a third-level genetic warrior. He raised Feng Mo's father, and then he raised Feng Yimou again after Feng Mo's parents disappeared. It can be said that the butler has been serving the Feng family all his life. Now, at only over 200 years old, he has already shown signs of old age. How can Feng Yimou not feel distressed? It's not hard, young master. Go out and explore without worry. I'll take care of the territory, and you won't have to worry. Feng Qingyang first saluted, then spoke in a decisive tone. Yang Bo has always been like this, very conscious and well-mannered. He will not be too close to the master's family, and will not use emotions to bind the master's family, but he will resolutely protect everything of the master's family. In fact, in terms of seniority and age, Feng Yimou should call him grandpa, but Yang Bo does not allow it. As he said, what would the people below think if they heard it? Where is the prestige of the master family? So Feng Yimou calling him Yang Bo is already the greatest effort. Feng family ancestral home. This is an ancient building complex located directly south of the main star of Xianyun. It occupies 1/10 of the area of the entire main star and is home to nearly 1 billion people, all of whom rely on the Feng family for their livelihood. This place can be called a small country. The Feng family is the local tyrant here, and Feng Yimou can also be called the captain, but the power of this captain is only 1/10. Study. Feng Yimou was listening carefully to Yang Bo's report on the various income and expenditures of the territory during the 3 years he was in college. Now, there were only more than 3 million Yunshan coins left in the Feng family's account, which was very pitiful. Yang Bo, I will inject 10 million Yunshan coins into the territory account. This money will be used to maintain the fleet and the territory's defense system. Also, I came home this time to update the fleet. The T3 territory defense system costs hundreds of millions of Yunshan coins, which I can't afford for the time being, so I'll start with the fleet. Yang Bo, I'll send you a list and transfer 20 million to the territory account. This money will be used to purchase raw materials for building starships. As for the T1 starships in the fleet, we'll decommission them and convert them from military to civilian use. There is one more thing that Yang Bo needs to inform. All the starship engineers and starship maintenance and construction students trained by my Feng family who are currently attending university should stop what they are doing immediately. Those who are studying abroad should immediately ask for leave and return to the main star of Xianyun. Have them gather at the interstellar dockyard at 10 o'clock the day after tomorrow. I want to use them to build ships in batches. This will also be a learning opportunity for them. I believe they will be grateful to me as their lord. After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he first transferred 30 million to the territory account, and then sent a list to Yang Bo using the terminal. Yang Bo responded and walked out of the study. Feng Yimou was half lying on the sofa, his eyes focused, and a sky blue panel appeared. Name: Feng Yimou Level 1 Gene Warrior Occupation, Junior Starship Engineer Special Talent, Half the Sky. When the fleet recruits more female soldiers than male soldiers and non-humanoid male soldiers, the fleet gains a lucky bonus. Starship. T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship points. 0 mission. Build a starship fleet. Requirements: 1 main ship, several secondary ships and frigates. 0/30. Reward: 500 points. Second level perfect gene medicine formula warehouse. T2 Black Bear class. Interstellar frigate blueprints. T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship blueprints. In fact, Feng Yimou said that the first reason to reorganize the fleet was to improve and update the territory defense, and the second was to complete the mission and also for the reward. He had never neglected the practice of guidance techniques. After becoming a first-level genetic warrior at the age of 18, he finally reached a bottleneck after 3 years. If you want to break through to the second-level genetic warrior, you can either rely on hard work and successfully advance through accumulation of time, or make and take genetic medicine. Feng Yimou didn't want to waste time, so he naturally chose to make genetic medicine, but people's genes are different, so the genetic medicines used for relative matching are also different. There are only standard secondary gene medicines on the market. Feng Yimou has tested them and the compatibility is 75%. Although it can lead to a breakthrough after using them, the improvement is far less than using gene medicines with a compatibility of more than 90%. As for the 500 points, they are also very useful. The newly opened Points Mall is filled with high-quality goods, even perfect genetic potions of various levels, but the prices are high. Among them, the price of the second-level perfect gene potion was as high as 3,000 points, which Feng Yimou could not afford. Fortunately, he received it as a mission reward. As for the starship blueprints, Feng Yimou currently only has 2 blueprints, namely the T2 Black Bear-class interstellar frigate and the T3 Storm-class interstellar battleship. This is not enough at all. To form a fleet, you must at least have destroyers, aircraft carriers, starships, and even Titan battleships, all of which require points. Moreover, the higher the level, the more points are required. T1 to T4 starships require 10, 100, 500, and 2,500 points respectively. As for T5 and above, Feng Yimou cannot see either the starships or potions. According to the information provided by the mall, it is because of insufficient authority. I believe that there will be task rewards to increase the mall authority in the future. Now the reward for this mission can be said to be exactly what Feng Yimou wants, but he doesn't have much time left, and it would be best if the fleet update is completed within 20 days. Feng Yimou recalled the list of territory fleets that Yang Bo had sent him before. The Feng family fleet currently had 36 starships in service. Among them, there is 1 T2 star battleship, 8 T2 star destroyers, 8 T2 star frigates, and the rest are T1 starships. These starships are old ships that have been in service for more than 50 years. Feng Yimou's goal is to retain these 17 T2 starships and retire the remaining 19 T1 starships for civilian use. Then he added 22 T2 frigates and 1 T3 battleship, so there were 40 starships. With 2 battleships as the main ships, 2 fleets were formed to cross cruise, further improving the security of the territory. In the following time, Feng Yimou stayed at home completely, and his previously tense nerves finally relaxed. September 7th, 9:40 a.m. Feng Yimou took Yang Bo and Ai out of the ancestral home and took a flying car to the interstellar dock. This dock was built by Feng Yimou's great-grandfather. In the early stage of construction, there was only one dock. Later, my grandfather and father expanded the area and upgraded the equipment. Now there are 5 docks, which can build 5 starships at the same time. Feng Yimou walked into dock number 1. The space here was slightly smaller than the Academy's interstellar dock, but it was completely sufficient to build a T3 starship. At this time, there were about 200 people standing in front of the gate of dock number 1. Yang Bo glanced at the list on the terminal, walked to Feng Yimou and said, "Sir, there are 304 people on the list, 287 people are actually here, and 17 people are not here. Among them, 12 people are going to explore the space and have asked for leave. The remaining 5 people have clearly stated that they do not want to come back." Yang Bo always calls Feng Yimou sir in public. He has been calling him that since he inherited the title at the age of 8. Only in private does he call Feng Yimou young master. Feng Yimou nodded after hearing this, looked at the people in front of him and said, "It takes 1,000 days to raise an army, but only a day to deploy it. You are all the people of the Feng family. It is the Feng family that gave your parents jobs and supported you to go to school and learn knowledge. It is your blessing that you are urgently summoned back this time. You are all professionals in starship construction and maintenance. The reason why I am looking for college students like you instead of experienced ones is because I will be building a large number of starships in the future. This kind of practical opportunity is rare. I hope you can seize it and learn more. As for the 5 who didn't come, stop sponsoring them, conduct a thorough investigation of their 5 generations, and place all their relatives under secret surveillance. If there are any criminals, they will be severely punished." The first sentence was a lecture, and the second sentence was spoken in a low voice to Yang Bo. After hearing this, Yang Bo nodded, turned, and left. He suddenly realized that the Lord had become more ruthless after his return this time. But this was better, because only a rational and ruthless decision-maker could make the territory more prosperous. Don't blame Feng Yimou for being cruel. The interstellar age is an age of cannibalism. If you are not strong, you will be suppressed and eaten by others. Feng Yimou had no idea why these 5 people didn't come back, nor did he want to know the reason. Everything depended on the results. The next step was to assign personnel. All 5 docks were opened at the same time. Feng Yimou first assigned personnel to docks 2, 3, 4, and 5. 50 people were assigned to each of the 4 docks, and the rest went to dock 1. Feng Yimou entered the starship data into the intelligent construction system in the dock's central control room, and then brought nearly 100 people to dock number 1. At this time, the materials ordered by Yang Bo have been delivered to the dock one after another, and shipbuilding has officially begun. At this time in dock number 1, Feng Yimou operated the robotic arms and various equipment to start the starship construction project. With the help of nearly 100 people, progress was very rapid. In just 3 days, the keel of the storm was completed. During this period, he also took time to visit the other 4 docks and point out their mistakes. Time passed slowly. The growth of these talents called back by Yang Bo was visible to the naked eye, from their initial complaints to their sincere admiration for Feng Yimou, and finally to their obsession with shipbuilding. I believe that after this experience, they will be able to stand on their own in the future. September 28th morning. More than 20 days have passed since Feng Yimou returned. At this time, there is a T-2 Black Bear-class interstellar frigate docked in each of the 5 docks. Feng Yimou took a deep breath and dragged his tired body to shuttle between the 5 docks, conducting the final starship inspection on each of the 5 starships. During these 20 days, Feng Yimou only slept an average of 3 hours a day. If it weren't for the support of nutrient solution, he would have died suddenly. I can't be so hard working in the future, Feng Yimou thought to himself. Everyone, we have successfully completed our goal in more than 20 days. You are all great. I will ask Yang Bo to give each of you a bonus of 10,000 Yunshan coins later. Now go back and rest. After Feng Yimou finished speaking, he waved his hand and asked Al to drive the starship to the starport. He then staggered onto the flying car, closed his eyes, and fell into a deep sleep. When Feng Yimou woke up again, it was already the afternoon of September 29th. He was awakened by the smell of food. He rubbed his sleepy eyes and touched his rumbling stomach. Feng Yimou looked at the desk beside him. There were 8 dishes on it, including chicken, beef, mutton, and fresh seafood. Feng Yimou couldn't help but get off the bed and eat heartily. Boom, 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 enter. Yang Bo pushed open the door and walked in, followed by an intelligent robot holding a brand new combat uniform. Yang Bo, you came just in time. I have something to explain to you. I have set your authority to the highest level for the newly built starships. Without your permission, the captains of the fleet will not be able to activate the starships without authorization. I'm relieved that you're watching over the family, but you still need to be careful. The territory has more than doubled now, and the cross-patrol of the 2 fleets must not allow for any mistakes. Facing Feng Yimou's instructions, Yang Bo said solemnly, Master, don't worry. I will protect this home well. While you are building the ship, I will conduct preliminary exploration of the 3 resource planets that have been newly planned into the territory. These 3 resource planets are extremely rich in minerals and have many precious medicinal herbs. With these 3 resource planets, it will not be a problem for the territory's annual income to double. Feng Yimou nodded after hearing this. The development of the territory and himself are complementary to each other. This is his route. The Academy will be conducting a practical training on October 1st. I plan to leave and return to the Academy tomorrow. The territory is now up to you. Look at my harvest. After seeing Yang Bo off, Feng Yimou leaned against the bed and opened the panel. After building 23 starships in just over 20 days, the panel prompt indicated that the mission was completed. Mission: build a starship fleet. Requirements: 1 main ship, several secondary ships and frigates. 0/30. Reward: 500 points. Second level perfect gene medicine formula. Feng Yimou clicks to receive the mission reward. The mission reward has been collected, and you have obtained 500 points and a copy of the second level perfect gene medicine formula, Feng Yimou version. Looking at the contents of the potion formula, Feng Yimou frowned slightly. After opening the smart terminal to check for a while, he felt a little worried. Then he opened the internal star network of the Academy, but did not feel relieved after checking for a while. The formula of this second-level potion is made from the artificially extracted essences of 16 main medicines, and 184 auxiliary medicines. Among them, 12 main medicines and 184 auxiliary medicines are sold on the main star of Xianyun, and the Feng family also has stock, so it is easy to solve. Send a list to Yang Bo and inform him to purchase it overnight, and ask Feng Yimou to take the herbs with him when he leaves tomorrow. What Feng Yimou was worried about just now were the 4 kinds of medicinal herbs that could not be found on the main star of Xianyun. Fortunately, he found them on the school's star network. However, these 4 kinds of medicinal herbs are somewhat precious, and the sellers offer a price of no less than 1 million Yunshan coins for each medicinal herb. There were a total of 200 kinds of medicinal herbs, which cost Feng Yimou more than 6 million Yunshan coins. It was so expensive that he felt a little distressed. This price was enough to buy a T2 starship from the outside world, and even a T2 Black Bear was enough to build 5. After spending another large sum of money, Feng Yimou calculated the small treasury and found that there was only 24 million left after discarding the small change. He couldn't help but sigh that money was really hard to spend. It seemed that he had to continue to make money. After taking care of the medicinal materials, Feng Yimou turned his attention to the points mall. He happened to have 500 points in his hand, and originally wanted to exchange them for the design drawings of the T3 destroyer. However, after looking through the T3 starship for a long time, Feng Yimou's eyes lit up. T3 Copper Hammer Class Interstellar Industrial Ship Armor Strength, 145 units ship data, 2000 by 500 by 369 speed, 60 knots warp drive, level 3 star shield energy, level 3, 100% weapon, T3 close range laser rapid fire secondary cannon times 50. Feng Yimou checked the data of this starship. Its size is several times larger than that of the Storm. There are very few firearms on board, and no long-range firearms. After all, this is not a combat-type starship, and it only has the most basic defensive firearms interception. As the name suggests, the core function of this T3 starship is the construction and maintenance of starships and firearms. With this starship, as long as there are enough raw materials, Feng Yimou will no longer need a dock and can build ships in the universe. Moreover, this is an intelligent industrial ship that only needs a small number of professional starship engineering personnel to operate normally, and the shipbuilding efficiency is extremely high. For example, it took Feng Yimou nearly 2 months to build the Storm alone. With this industrial starship, the time can be shortened by at least half a month. And its most important feature is confidentiality. Even the staff on the starship only know the technical content of their own position and nothing else. It can even be said that Feng Yimou can be responsible for core technologies such as engines in the future, while unimportant matters such as the hull can be handled by the staff. With it, combined with Feng Yimou's talent, it is like adding wings to a tiger. This industrial ship must be built. Feng Yimou's eyes lit up slightly, and he exchanged it for his only remaining 500 points. After calculating the construction cost according to the drawings, Feng Yimou was a little dumbfounded. It's simply too expensive. The Storm is 800 meters long and costs more than 11 million. If it is sold to the public, Feng Yimou will ask for at least 50 million. This T3 industrial starship is 2,000 meters long and 500 meters wide in a rectangle and costs a whopping 30 million. Feng Yimou no longer dared to imagine how much this starship would cost. No wonder each of these auxiliary starships was so outrageously expensive, but it is worth it. With this starship, Feng Yimou can easily build all T4 starships except the T4 aircraft carrier starship. I'm short of money again. Feng Yimou scratched his head. Apart from the 5 million reserve funds, he would need another 11 million Yunshan coins to build this industrial ship. How about making a bet with Jiang Wei after returning? No, he's learned a lesson. He won't fight with me again. How about changing to Zhao Zicheng? I'll see if it works after I go back. The next morning, Feng Yimou took the medicine box handed over by Yang Bo and took out to the Storm. New tasks have been refreshed. This task panel is not smart at all. If you complete a task on the same day, a new task will always be refreshed the next day. Task: make a level 2 perfect gene potion. After taking it, you will be promoted to a level 2 gene warrior. Reward: 500 points, T3 level combat armor design drawings. T3 level combat armor. Good stuff. The combat armor that Director Liu was equipped with before was also of this level. After ordinary level 3 gene warriors are equipped with it, they can completely defeat level 4 gene warriors. A level 3 gene warrior like Director Liu can even fight a level 5 gene warrior for a short period of time without being defeated after being equipped with equipment. After the excitement, Feng Yimou became worried again. It was because he was short of money. The price of manufacturing this kind of combat armor was sky high, much more expensive than an ordinary T3 starship. September 29th, afternoon, college dormitory. Feng Yimou sat in front of the test bench, with two intelligent robots beside him extracting the essence of medicinal materials. Feng Yimou arrived at the college at noon today. He first took back the medicinal herbs, then paid the balance, and hurried back to the dormitory with 2 boxes of medicinal herbs. There was a gurgling sound coming from the vessel on the laboratory table. After the steps of dehydration, dissolution, extraction, and filtration, a glass bottle of azure blue viscous liquid was successfully extracted. Feng Yimou picked up the potion and poured it directly into his mouth. As the azure liquid entered his mouth, Feng Yimou immediately closed his mouth. At the same time, his whole body trembled violently as if struck by lightning, and his face, which had originally been full of blood, turned pale in an instant. From the mouth to the esophagus to the stomach, it was like swallowing magma, and waves of burning pain spread throughout the body. The surface of the body changed from the healthy light yellow color of the human body to a deep blue. The pain caused by the burning made Feng Mo's body twitch intermittently and his muscles tensed. The blood vessels were throbbing like worms, and the pale face was bloodless. Seeing this, 2 intelligent robots nearby quickly lifted Feng Yimou up and brought him to the bathroom, where they placed him in ice water that had been prepared to cool him down. As soon as Feng Mo's body entered the water, it caused bursts of steam, but fortunately his body cooled down, the pain dissipated a lot, and his originally ferocious face gradually calmed down. His face became rosy and his consciousness gradually returned to normal. At this time, 2 intelligent robots lifted Feng Yimou up, dried his body, put him on the big bed in the bedroom, covered him with a quilt, and left. Feng Yimou felt weak all over, but his mind was clear. As a level 2 genetic warrior, his lifespan would be nearly 200 years, so he would not be able to live to the end. At this time, the panel prompts that the task has been completed. Task: make a level 2 perfect gene potion. After taking it, you will be promoted to a level 2 gene warrior. Reward: 500 points, T3 level combat armor design drawings. Feng Yimou clicks to receive the mission reward. The mission reward has been collected, and you have obtained 500 points and a set of T3 combat armor design drawings. Since he couldn't sleep anyway, Feng Yimou simply studied the design drawings of the combat armor and silently calculated the required costs in his mind. You really don't know until you calculate it. Once you do, you will be shocked. According to a rough calculation, it takes at least 40 million Yunshan coins to make a set of T3 combat armor, which is more than 3 times the cost of making the storm. In fact, the engine, shell, and firearms equipment of combat armor are not expensive. A set costs only a few million Yunshan coins. What is really expensive is the material such as memory metal. This new type of material is generally sold by the pound, with 1 pound costing nearly 1 million Yunshan coins, and it takes at least 30 pounds to make a set of T3 combat armor. Seeing such a high production cost, Feng Yimou just felt palpitations and stopped thinking about it. A feeling of fatigue came over him, and he gradually fell asleep. On October 1st, Feng Yimou came to the classroom early, tapped Wang Chengxing's shoulder as usual, and then sat down. Mo, the latest news is that the actual combat internship for senior students of all military academies will be directly taken over by the military. This means that this internship will bring together all 72 military academies in the Yunshan Empire to conduct actual combat together. I had to spend 4 hours asking my old man the day before yesterday to find out where we were going. We might have to go to the front line. Feng Yimou was shocked after hearing this. Go to the front line? In the interstellar era, the Human Federation is not without hostile forces. On the contrary, there are still many hostile forces. It can be said that it is a place of war on all sides. It borders on the interstellar Zerg to the north, on the interstellar mechanical race to the south, on the interstellar orc race to the east, and on the chaos star sea to the west. This is the area where the Federation focuses on interstellar exploration, where pirates are rampant, burning, killing, looting, and committing all kinds of evil. It was there that Feng Mo's parents disappeared. Among them, the Yunshan Empire is located to the north of the Human Federation, and together with the other three empires forms the northern defense line against the interstellar Zerg. The battlefield is not a place to play. It is extremely dangerous. If you are not careful, the ship will be destroyed and people will die. However, Feng Mo thought of one thing. Old Wang, since you are on the front line, does that mean you have military merit? Feng Mo asked anxiously. Of course, Mo. You also know that there are only two ways to gain military merit nowadays. One is to go to the battlefield, and the other is to explore the stars. If we go to the battlefield, we will definitely gain military merit. Hearing Wang Chongqing's affirmative answer, Feng Mo felt much better. He knew that if he wanted to gain military merit and improve his title, there were only the two ways that Old Wang mentioned. Going to the battlefield is extremely dangerous and restrictive, and the spoils obtained do not belong to the individual but to the military department, and are exchanged with military points, but the military merits are greater. As for interstellar exploration, it is not as dangerous as on the battlefield, but the rewards are extremely high. As long as an unknown planet is discovered, it will be a huge income, and both military merit and Yunshan coins will be earned generously. Of course, these are two directions of development. Each has its own advantages. It depends on your choice. After the two chatted for a while, a series of dee sounds were heard. The head teacher walked into the classroom from outside the door. This time he was not a projection but his real self. I guess what he wanted to announce was extremely important. Students, the practical internship for senior year students has officially begun. Now I will announce the internship process. This internship is jointly organized by the military and the academy. It will last for 6 months, and the internship location is the Northern Theater Defense Line. This internship is completely voluntary. Students who want to participate can log in to the college's Star Network to sign up and set off at 8 a.m. on October 3rd. Let me tell you about the benefits of participating in this internship. First, the military promises that the students who participate in this internship will be given priority for admission after graduation by half a grade. Second, this internship will be implemented under the same military merit rules as the military fleet, and students with outstanding performance will be awarded a large amount of military merit and military points. Third, the military will draw up a kill list, in which points will be recorded for destroying or killing Zerg starships and soldiers, and the top 100 students on the list will receive military rewards. If there are students who want to join the military after graduation, this internship is a rare opportunity. Students who do not want to participate in the internship will be arranged by the academy to practice in logistics positions. What the head teacher said was very impressive. He asked the students to do it completely voluntarily without any intention of forcing them. After saying that, he turned around and left. As soon as the head teacher walked out of the classroom, the whole classroom suddenly buzzed, and the students' discussions rose and fell, as if they were going to lift the roof off. Wang Chongsheng patted Feng Mo on the shoulder and asked him to follow him out of the classroom. Mo, when we get to the front line, we'll form a team and contact a few reliable classmates to form a temporary fleet. Feng Mo thought for a moment and replied, I think it's okay. There is strength in numbers, but there are too few reliable people. At this point, Feng Mo's eyes lit up and continued, Old Wang, how is Mo Shui? Feng Mo said as he looked at Wang Chongqing's helpless face, and he wanted to laugh. The Mo Shui mentioned by Feng Mo is Wang Chongqing's fiancée. They were childhood sweethearts. The Mo family's roots are not in the Yunshan Empire. When Mo Shui was in college, the Mo family specially sent her to the Yunshan Interstellar Military Academy just to get more familiar with Wang Chongqing. Mo Shui, whose name sounds sweet, is actually an absolute queen. The most important thing is that Wang Chongqing can't beat her. Every time she takes a mixed martial arts class, it is Wang Chongqing's day of suffering. As Lao Wang's childhood friend and best buddy, Feng Mo and Mo Shui are only nodding acquaintances, and that is when Lao Wang is around. When Lao Wang is not around, Feng Mo and Mo Shui don't even talk to each other. This is what a good buddy is. There is no pure friendship between men and women, there is only hormones. So remember not to have too much communication with your brother's future wife. It is enough to just get along on the surface. If you want to form a team, take me with you. And Brother Feng Imo, can you let me touch your cannon? A voice came from behind, startling Feng Imo and Wang Chongsheng. Behind Feng Imo stood a girl who was nearly 1.8 meters tall, with a curvy figure and a pure, lowly face. Yu Xiaoming, big gun? Wang Chongsheng winked at Feng Imo, as if asking when they hooked up. Feng Imo shook his head in confusion. He didn't have much contact with her. Since entering college, Feng Imo spent all his spare time studying starship-related knowledge. He had no time for socializing. What's wrong? I just want to see the 2,600mm turbolaser cannon on Brother Fengma's T-3 battleship. Feng Imo breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. The way this lowly with a baby-faced and mature figure spoke was really hard to bear. If you want to watch, you are always welcome. You can also form a team, but you have to follow the instructions. Brother Feng Imo, don't worry. I will obey your orders. I will do whatever you tell me to do. The soft and cute voice combined with the lowly face was really unbearable. Feng Imo decided to change the subject. Old Wang, don't forget to inform Imo Shui. Counting you Xiaoming, the four of us will form a temporary fleet. I'm going back first. See you on number 3. Feng Imo left after he finished speaking. The reason why he agreed to let Yu Xiaoming join the team was entirely because of the starship prepared by the other party's family. It was a T-3 interstellar aircraft carrier. It can be said that this type of starship is definitely the most expensive in the entire class. If used properly, it can be very effective at critical moments. The other thing is related to his new mission. Destroy the Hive mothership. 0 out of 100, reward 1,000 points. AT-3 Interstellar Mecha Design Drawing. 8 a.m. on October 3rd. The interstellar port of Yunshan Interstellar Military Academy. All the students from Class 1 and Class 2 of the Senior Command Department who are participating in the practical internship gathered here. In the crowd, students gathered in groups of 3 or 4, and it was obvious that they had formed teams. At the back, Feng Imo and his 4 companions were wearing black combat uniforms. At this time, Wang Chongsheng looked around and whispered, Imo, there are 100 people in the first and second classes combined, but only 63 of them came today. There are so many who dare not come. This is a good opportunity to join the military. No one cared about what Wang Chongsheng said. Many things cannot be judged by appearances alone. It's normal for you not to come. You, a young master, have AT-3 starship and hundreds of retired officers and soldiers following you. What do those civilian students have? Do you really want to force them to be cannon fodder? To die? Feng Imo is right. After all, the front line is no joke. Not everyone has the courage to risk their lives. Moreover, there are several civilians among the 60 or so people who came. Compared to us, it is obvious that they are the ones who are really risking their lives. At this time, Imo Shui on the side spoke, while Yu Xiaoming just stood beside Feng Imo, taking a selfie with the terminal in her hand. Feng Imo was speechless about this. In the past few days, through terminal chatting, Feng Imo also had a brief understanding of Yu Xiaoming's personality. She was a big lowly who was both middle school student and addicted to big guns and selfies. At this time, there was a commotion ahead, and Director Liu, who was leading the team, came over with 2 class teachers wearing combat uniforms. The time is up. Students, please board the interstellar carrier in an orderly manner. We are about to set off. After boarding the starship, the teacher will assign hibernation capsules to everyone. Later, we will introduce the battle situation on the front line to everyone in the StarNet classroom. After Director Liu finished speaking, he led everyone towards Pier No. 1. At this time, all the starships that were originally docked at Pier Number 1 had left. Instead, it was replaced by a real behemoth AT-4 class interstellar carrier with a hull length of 8,000 meters and a width of nearly 2,000 meters. It is a well-deserved Imperial weapon. There are only 4 auxiliary starships of this type in the entire Yunshan Empire. I didn't expect one to be sent here today. You can imagine how much the Empire values them. With this interstellar carrier, all the students' and teachers' starships can accommodate some and have some left over. Feng Imo and his 3 companions followed the crowd onto the huge ship. At the same time, the deputy captain's request came through everyone's terminals. It turned out that a staff member asked them to drive the storm onto the interstellar carrier. After Feng Yimou and others agreed, they followed the crowd into the starship. The interior of this carrier ship was not luxurious, but rather simple. Judging from the signs of wear and tear, Feng Yimou guessed that this starship had been in service for no more than 30 years. For a moment, he was a little envious. Who wouldn't want to own such a powerful weapon? It was a pity that Feng Yimou didn't even have the money to build T3 interstellar industrial ships and T3 combat armor, so he had to wait in line for this type of interstellar transport ship. This voyage will cross 4 star systems and is expected to take 3 hours and 50 minutes to reach the destination. The warp engine has been prefabricated. We will enter the warp speed stage in 10 minutes. All crew members, please enter the deep sea mode. Repeat once more, all crew members, please enter deep sea mode. As the last person stepped onto the carrier, a mechanical sound was heard. Under the teacher's instructions, Feng Yimou and the other 3 lay down in the hibernation cabin and entered the deep sea mode. After Feng Yimou and his 3 companions reappeared on the star network, they came to the classroom where they usually had classes. At this time, Director Liu had already stepped onto the podium. When he saw that everyone was present, he said, "This time we are heading to the northern war zone front, bordering the interstellar Zerg. As we all know, the Zerg are warlike by nature and will subconsciously devour all creatures within their perception and even cannibalize their own kind. Wherever they go, it is a disaster for all life on the planet. So how do we deal with the attack of the interstellar Zerg? It's very simple. Just blow up their hive motherships. Everyone knows that there is no oxygen in the universe. The function of the interstellar Zerg's hive mothership is similar to that of human starships. It can provide oxygen to the Zerg. In the universe, as long as their hive mothership is blown up and the Zerg are exposed to the universe, they will die naturally. The level of the Zerg mothership is equivalent to that of a starship. Currently, the mothership of the interstellar Zerg is T5, but it is hiding in the depths of the universe. The Federation has organized suicide squads to destroy it many times, but to no avail. The interstellar Zerg has a major characteristic, and that is its reproduction speed. As long as the mother nest is still alive and has sufficient nutrients, it can continuously reproduce low-grade hive motherships and then reproduce interstellar Zerg through the hive motherships. Our mission is to cooperate with the multiple fleets stationed on the northern front, strive to destroy more hive motherships, and accumulate military merits. Director Liu spoke for 2 hours straight, giving everyone a lot of knowledge about the interstellar Zerg, including their weaknesses, habits, and so on. The carrier system prompts that it has arrived at the target Fengtian starport and is now in autopilot mode. A mechanical sound came into everyone's ears. Feng Mo exited the star network, opened the hibernation capsule, and crawled out. Everyone changed into combat uniforms and lined up. The whole process took less than 2 minutes, a speed achieved after 4 years of training. Under the leadership of Director Liu, everyone got off the carrier one by one, and then divided into groups on the spot. Director Liu and the head teachers of Class 1 and 2 of the command department each led a group of students to carry out the task. Fengtian is the planet closest to the northern front. Arriving here means that everyone has officially entered the battlefield. Feng Yimou and his 4 companions were assigned to Director Liu's group. He was very impressed by this talented person in the academy and was willing to give him more care. The 3 people who met with Director Liu were 3 young men wearing military combat uniforms. Judging from their military ranks, they were all at the level of lieutenant colonel, which was enough to command a small fleet. The 3 of them came to the 3 teams. The young man who met with Director Liu was nearly 2 meters tall, with a strong back and a fierce aura. He was a fierce god. Captain of the first team of the MOU fleet, Yu Mingho, welcome the juniors. Haha, we'll have to trouble the captain to come and pick you up in person, Director Liu said politely. Teacher Liu, you don't have to be polite. Although I have graduated, I am still a member of Yunshan College. Yu Mingho restrained his breath and smiled innocently. Let me introduce you. This is Yu Mingho, a senior from your Class 4. He is currently the captain of the MOU fleet. He commands a fleet of 100 starships with T4 as the main ship. He is also a leader among the 3rd-level Gene Warriors. Hello, senior. After Director Liu finished his introduction, Feng Yimou and others greeted him at the same time. Facing a group of fellow students, Yu Mingho did not put on airs at all. He led everyone to Starport number 3, where the starship of Feng Yimou and others was docked. The rest of the journey would be carried out by starship. Feng Yimou came to the main control room of the Storm, and Deputy Captain Al was waiting there early. Sitting in the captain's chair, in front of him was a huge projection screen divided into 27 video windows, including Director Liu, Yu Mingho, and 25 trainees. 27 starships shared radar, and after making sure that everyone would not fall behind, the T-4 White Shark-class Star Destroyer commanded by Ming Hao guided everyone to sail into the depths of the universe. The destination is a planet called Z-139, which is located to the right of the Baishimen space station on the north side of Fengtian Star. It is the front line against interstellar Zerg. It takes 1.5 hours to arrive here using the warp engine. This is equivalent to the distance between Xianyun Main Star and Xianyun Stargate. 1.5 hours later, the fleet arrived at the preset coordinate location. Feng Yimou woke up immediately, sat in the captain's chair, and issued the order to prepare for battle. Yu Mingho's fleet deployed defenses based on Planet Z-139, with the goal of preventing the Hive mothership from crossing the defense line. Planet Z-139 has a population of only over 2 million. As a frontline logistics planet, it may be attacked by interstellar Zerg at any time. So the staff here are all assigned by the military. Fellow students, you came at an inopportune time. The reconnaissance fleet ahead just notified us that the interstellar Zerg are less than 0.0001 light-years away from planet Z-139. I'm going to the defense line to command, and I'll leave this to Director Liu. So get ready for battle, Yu Mingho said in the video, but Feng Yimou felt that this person might have some illness. Most people would have a heavy expression when they encounter a war, but this person looked a little excited when he was notified. Well, now is not the time to worry about this. We have to prepare for the battle. All students will follow the White Shark. The MOU team will form the first line of defense. We are the second line of defense. This is your first battle. I hope you will fight well. Your military merits will be counted from now on. At Director Liu's command, everyone prepared for battle and continued sailing with the White Shark. After sailing for about 20 minutes, the Storm's radar showed that there were a large number of starships ahead, which was the fleet led by Ming Hao. Suddenly, a large number of red spots appeared on the radar. Feng Yimou looked at the White Shark, which had not disconnected the video. Through the video, he could see that a large number of Zerg motherships were approaching the fleet. TSK, there are only 10 T3 class ships among the more than 500 Hive motherships, and the rest are small fish and shrimps. T3 Rhino-class interstellar frigates form the first line of defense. Turn on the Star Shield to maximum power. Charge up the close defense rapid-fire laser cannons. Pull the Hive motherships in and then attack. Battleships and destroyers charge up the main guns. The T3 Hive-class interstellar aircraft carrier will release drones to bombard these bugs first, to give them some appetizers. Feng Yimou actually felt his blood boiling as he listened to Yu Mingho calmly giving orders. Al, activate the Storm probe. This war is worth learning from. Commander, the detector has been activated. As Al finished speaking, a projected light screen appeared in the Storm's main control room. 500 T3 drones flew out of a huge aircraft carrier starship, covering 50 huge T3 unmanned bombers approaching the attacking swarm of insects. 500 T3 drones formed a huge firepower network in the universe, launching cross-attacks on thousands of Hive motherships. The 50 huge T3 unmanned bombers released the long-prepared shock missiles, and flames were everywhere for a moment. With the firepower of 550 T3 drones pouring down, some low-level Zerg motherships were instantly blown to pieces. Feng Yimou clenched his fists and said excitedly in his heart, "This is war." At the same time, the Zerg mothership was also fighting back. A large number of green beams hit the drones and blew them up. After the drones had unleashed all their firepower, 50 drones were left to cover the retreat, while the others returned to the T3 Hive for ammunition replenishment. A wave of 550 drones were set out, but only more than 300 successfully returned to the aircraft carrier, which was a huge loss. However, there were 8 T3 interstellar industrial ships in the rear, so there was no need to worry about supply problems. Feng Yamo had previously learned about the Zerg in a systematic way, and Director Liu had given them extra lessons when they came here, but seeing the Zerg's fighting style with their own eyes was still a shock. If the student suffers from trypophobia, then congratulations, you are not far from collapse. Generally, individual hive motherships are larger and belong to the category of biological starships, but their mobility is average. They mainly use biological lasers, biological torpedoes, and other combat weapons, and have no advantages compared with starships of the same level. However, their unique group structure gives them an exclusive fighting style, which is that they are not afraid of death. They can engage in starship collisions with you without any scruples. As long as there are sufficient resources, the mother nest can produce a large number of soldiers in a short period of time, which is very terrifying. In order to deal with the Federation starships, the mother hive has developed interstellar Zerg species such as the self-exploding worms and the corrosive worms, which can attach themselves to the hive motherships. AT-1 hive carrier usually has 1,000 suicide worms and 10,000 corrosive worms. The suicide bug can survive in the universe for a short period of time, and its tail is similar to a thruster that can cause it to self-destruct when it approaches a Federation starship. The corrosive worm is even more perverted. The mucus it sprays is similar to highly corrosive acid, which can corrode starships below T4. It also has thrusters at its tail, similar to the Federation's drones. The Federation was caught off guard when it first encountered these two types of bugs, so it can be said that not only is the Federation's technology improving, but its opponents are also improving. Besides, these bugs have no fear. They only accept orders from the hive mothership and attack targets one after another. This fighting style is similar to that of aircraft carriers, starships, and drones, and these bugs are drones. In the picture, the Zerg starship released a large number of suicide bugs, and the dense swarm of bugs rushed towards the defense line. The drone has been resupplied, preparing for the second attack. Feng Yamo heard the report in the video. Contact the interstellar aircraft carrier. Stop the attack after the drones have completed 3 rounds of ammunition dumping. Notify all captains to charge the main guns and prepare. After the drones have completed 3 rounds of attacks, the main guns will fire in unison. Yes, Yu Mingho gave the order. After 3 rounds of bombing by the drones, Feng Yamo counted them and found that the interstellar aircraft carrier lost 300 drones, and nearly 100 Zerg hive motherships were destroyed. All starships prepare. Main guns fire. Secondary guns charge and get ready. Along with Yu Mingho's roar, hundreds of starships shone at the same time, and hundreds of laser beams formed a huge firepower network covering all the Zerg motherships. In fact, interstellar wars are similar to planetary ground wars. They all involve firepower coverage. Whoever has stronger firepower has the advantage. As for the showmanship that outplayed before, it is not suitable for real battlefields and can only be regarded as graffiti. After a round of laser cannon fire, a large number of Zerg motherships in the universe exploded, and flames suddenly broke out. At the same time, green beams of light shot out from the Zerg mothership that had not yet been destroyed. Facing the Zerg attack, Yu Mingho calmly ordered, "Escort fleet, prepare. Close and rapid-fire cannons, fire at full power to intercept the attack. Star shields, turn on maximum power. Battleships, destroyers, secondary guns fire. Main guns cool down and prepare to charge." Yu Mingho commanded the fleet's attack and defense in an orderly manner. The situation was completely under his control, and the number of hive motherships was constantly decreasing. Director Liu, those who came today are just cannon fodder. Let the juniors take over. It's a good opportunity to accumulate practical experience. As soon as Yu Mingho finished speaking, the students in the video went wild. It was really not easy to come across such a good opportunity. These were all white military achievements. At this time, there were nearly 500 or 600 hive motherships in the field. After 3 rounds of bombing by MOU's first squadron's drones and the salvos of main and secondary guns, only less than 100 were left. Moreover, most of these 100 hive motherships are injured. This is a good opportunity for training, and Director Liu will certainly not miss it. But he doesn't know how to command everyone to deploy troops, so the effectiveness of the training is greatly reduced. Everyone, I know you have formed teams privately. In the next 2 hours, You will be free to move around in small groups and return to your team in 2 hours. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone cheered. The students who could enter the command department of Yunshan Military Academy were all the pride of the Yunshan Empire and naturally had their own pride. Moreover, the students who actively asked to go to the battlefield naturally have extremely firm beliefs, and they know very well what they want. The Storm is in the lead. Lao Wang and Mo Shui's T-3 Bald Eagle-class interstellar destroyer will protect Xiaoming. Xiaoming will be the main force in this attack. I heard that your T-3 Hyena-class interstellar aircraft carrier is more powerful than MOU's First Squadron's T-3 Hive-class interstellar aircraft carrier. Let us see it for ourselves. Feng Mo didn't have time to cheer and hurriedly made arrangements. He really wanted to see how powerful Yu Xiaoming's interstellar aircraft carrier was. Then, Captain, just wait and see. Although my hyenas may not be as numerous as the Hive's drones, they are definitely more powerful than them. Okay, we won't go to the front battlefield. We'll cut off all the video feeds except for those of the 4 people. We'll cut in from the left side. I'm going to imitate Zhao Zilong and do 7 in and 7 out. Let's start. Feng Mo muttered, with a crazy look flashing in his eyes. Report, the fleet has arrived at the battlefield, but as the deputy captain, I suggest that it is better to attack from the periphery for the best safety. Facing the Hive mothership directly, although a large number of motherships will be destroyed, it is more dangerous. As a professional starship commander, I'll give a professional answer. No need. Now that we are on the battlefield, how can we grow by only fighting with favorable winds? Keep sailing at full speed. At this time, Elle was personally controlling the starship's navigation. Every navigation angle and trajectory was controlled by her personally. Of course, the orders were still given by Feng Mo. The driving of a starship is usually entrusted to a professional helmsman. In fact, the starship has automatic driving, but it is too rigid and many times a flash of inspiration from the driver may change the situation of the battle. Today, Elle is at the helm personally because she knows the dangers of the battlefield. If she is not careful and is hit by the biological laser of the Hive mothership or surrounded by the suicide insect swarm, she will pay the price of death. The Storm and the 2 T-3 Bald Eagles should turn their star shields to maximum power. The 3 starship main guns should charge and prepare for firing for now. Let Xiaoming perform first. Feng Mo commanded in an orderly manner. Okay, boss, watch my show. Hundreds of side gun ports on the T-3 Hyena-class interstellar aircraft carrier, which was surrounded by 3 starships, were opened, and hundreds of T-3 Hyena-class interstellar unmanned bombers took off. It flew towards the nearest Hive mothership, and when it was close to the mothership, it immediately used machine guns and missiles to attack the 5 motherships at the same time, blowing the suicide bugs and corrosion bugs attached to the surface of the motherships into pieces. At the same time, an invisible antimatter time bomb was left in place, and then all the drones returned. The 5 Zerg motherships that were attacked for no reason would certainly not miss the opportunity to counterattack. They chased after the drones and released biological laser cannons and plasma cannons at the same time. At this time, Feng Mo's fleet was still on the edge of the battlefield. Xiaoming used hundreds of drones to lure 5 Zerg motherships over. Just as the Zerg motherships were chasing, the invisible antimatter time bombs that had been installed long ago exploded one by one, forming a beam of annihilating black light that swallowed up the 3 Zerg motherships. Well done, Xiaoming. Feng Mo praised generously. Guys, it's our turn now. Set up the main guns and shoot him. As soon as Feng Mo finished speaking, 3 light beams were simultaneously aimed at the remaining 2 Zerg motherships. The laser cannons of 2 of the T-3 Bald Eagles directly hit the side gun ports of the motherships. The Storm's 2,600mm turbolaser main gun had a lucky bonus and directly blasted through the hull of the Zerg mothership, and the originally huge mothership was directly broken into 2 halves. The boss is still the best. It turns out that big cannons are the most romantic. I wish I had a 2,600mm laser cannon. Yu Xiaoming said with a look of longing. Feng Mo shook his head after hearing it, not knowing that he was envious of her for having such an interstellar aircraft carrier. Although this girl has a soft and cute face, she always talks about huge ships and cannons, and she is very childish. This personality is really too likable. The successive destruction of 5 Zerg motherships caused a stir among Feng Mo's small fleet. Director Liu kept nodding his head as he looked at the images sent by the detector. He was indeed the genius he was following. At this time, on the entire battlefield, the interstellar Zerg had been unable to attack for a long time and gradually began to retreat. Feng Mo happened to notice this scene. He would not give up the opportunity to hit the fallen dog and quickly ordered, "Starships sail at high speed, outflank and intercept them." As mentioned before, the Zerg Hive mothership is huge in size, but has a very slow speed. Feng Mo relies on the fact that the opposite side is full of T2-T1 Zerg Hive motherships. Sailing at a speed of 160 star speeds, the fleet drew a semicircle directly on the periphery, cutting off the retreat route of the Zerg mothership directly from the front of the battlefield. The reason why the storm was not allowed to travel at 200 star speed was because we had to take care of Lao Wang and the others. At this time, after a wave of bombing by the students, the number of Zerg motherships was reduced from nearly 100 to more than 70 when they retreated. On the other hand, Feng Mo only has 4 starships, but it gives people a feeling of one man blocking the way against 10,000. At this moment, the bow of the storm was facing the position of a T2 Zerg mothership. The mothership seemed to have sensed the danger, and the biological plasma cannon was pouring towards the storm like crazy as if it was free. However, they were all intercepted by the close-range rapid-fire laser cannons on the storm. Occasionally, the biological plasma cannons that failed to be intercepted could only hit the star shield and could not cause any damage to the hull. 3 laser cannons are ready to charge. Fire immediately after charging. No need to ask for permission. Feng Mo gave the order, saying that the 2 starships were not far apart, and with the fire control radar aiming, there was no doubt that they would hit the target as long as they fired. Sure enough, 10 seconds later, 3 huge cannons roared at the same time, and 3 beams of light directly hit the belly of the T2 Zerg mothership. The huge explosion directly overturned the Zerg mothership, splitting it into 3 parts, and then the mothership exploded a second time, and countless pieces of flesh were scattered in the universe. This hit the belly where the plasma is stored. "It's really good luck." Feng Mo laughed. At first, he thought there was something wrong with his talent, but he didn't expect it to be so useful in actual combat. Although he cleanly solved a T2 Hive mothership, the fleet was also trapped in an encirclement. Of course, it can also be said that Feng Mo surrounded them. Facing an encirclement of more than 10 times the number of motherships, Feng Mo calmly ordered, "Speed up and ram them. We have star shields, but these idiots don't. Now is a good opportunity to earn military merit. It depends on how many of them we can keep." Feng Mo is right. Let's crash into it. Don't worry, even if it's damaged, the military won't repair it, but I'll reimburse you. The Mo clan is so poor that they only have star coins left. It's so exciting. When Mo Shui said this, Lao Wang felt depressed. This is my fiancé, a pure tomboy. Moreover, the star coins that this spendthrift woman mentioned are the universal currency of the Federation. Even many races in the universe use them universally, and the exchange rate with the imperial currency is 1 to 100. Remove the starship engine restrictions, continue to accelerate, and keep up with the storm's sailing speed. Mo Shui was very decisive, but Wang Chongsheng was even more decisive and directly lifted the restrictions on the starship engine. The deputy captain in charge of the 2T3 Bald Eagles was stunned for a moment and said worriedly, "Removing the restrictions on the starship's engines and continuing to accelerate will put a huge strain on the engines and could easily lead to accidents. This is an order. Lift the restrictions." Wang Chongsheng said seriously, "Yes, remove the starship engine restrictions." The starship continues to accelerate. The speed is 170-180-190. Needless to say, Xiaoming had already given the order to lift the restrictions on the starship engine. She was so proactive. Every starship's engine has a speed limit setting, which is the optimal speed the engine can withstand. At the optimal speed, the engine can survive longer. Of course, this is not the peak speed. Once the speed limit setting is lifted and the optimal speed is restored, the engine load will increase, which will greatly shorten the engine life. The speed limit settings are all password protected, so this command is usually issued by the commander or captain, and the deputy captain does not have the authority. Report. Engine overload. Power system overloaded. Speed has reached the limit of 197 knots. The suicide bugs and corrosive bugs guarding the T2 Hive mothership also sensed the danger at this moment and immediately turned into a black mist, trying to intercept the Fengma fleet. At the same time, the biological plasma cannons of nearly 10 Zerg motherships began to accumulate energy, flashing green light. At this time, the fleet, led by the storm, rushed towards the interstellar Zerg. From the perspective of Director Liu and Captain Yu Mingho, for starships formed a triangle and plunged into the swarm of insects, but because they were extremely fast and had the protection of star shields. What will happen when high-speed moving objects collide with each other? The blood and flesh flying everywhere is what we see when we talk about the T2 Zerg mothership. Fengmo is just bullying you because you are not at a high enough level and do not have the protection of a star shield. But they felt uncomfortable as well, and now they experienced firsthand what it felt like to be in the middle of a storm. In the main control room, you can hear continuous thumping sounds, and the ship's hull is shaking under your feet. Report, the star shield energy is still 52%, 44%, and 36%. The crew members are constantly reporting on the energy loss of the star shield. The fleet's main and secondary guns are ready. No need to aim, just fire straight ahead. Fengmo knew that he had to open a passage now. After they had interspersed like this, the entire group of Hive motherships was divided into two, and then they were annihilated separately. Otherwise, if the Hive motherships were to retreat together, these students could only fight back, and it would be considered a lot if they could destroy one or two. Although Fengmo's actions seemed a bit like being a good person, he put in so much effort, and although he got the lion's share, his classmates also got a lot of benefits by following behind him. But he didn't care about these. Since he was going to the battlefield, he should not have any small thoughts. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. Besides, he was only doing it for military merit. How to maximize the military merit was what he wanted. At Fengmo's command, the 3 starships simultaneously emitted 8 huge light beams, and at the same time, nearly 200 close-range rapid-fire cannons on the 4 starships roared wildly. 8 beams of light directly intercepted the 3 Hive motherships, and then the fleet knocked away their wreckage. At this time, the energy of the storm's star shield was only in the single digits, and the star shield was on the verge of destruction at any moment. Finally, the scenery in front of me suddenly brightened up, and the fleet broke through the darkness. The fleet rushed out from the Hive mothership group. This is a dragon. I like this character. Although it is a bit risky, young people should be aggressive. Don't be dull. Yu Mingho laughed loudly, and the deputy commander beside him took the opportunity to tease. Yes, only a reckless man like you would like a commander who rams ships at every turn. Yu Mingho was so angry at these words that his eyes widened like bells. He still remembered that this was an old nursery rhyme that appeared during an archaeological excavation more than 1,000 years ago. Fengmo had his own considerations regarding the ship collision. Don't forget that the Storm was a battleship, and the average strength of its hull armor was among the top 2 among ships of the same level. It might be slightly weaker than the frigates that were vulnerable to attacks with their armor stacked on top of each other. Coupled with the bonus of up to 200 knots of star speed, the Storm itself is transformed into a high-speed cannonball. Under the terrifying impact force, ordinary T2 Zerg motherships are simply vulnerable. At the same time, with the continuous firing of the main and secondary guns of the other 3 starships and the close-range rapid-fire laser cannons, it is normal to break out of the encirclement. It's a pity that the star shield energy has been completely used up, and several crew members were thrown into the air due to the previous collision and fell heavily to the ground. Fortunately, they only suffered superficial injuries and can be repaired later. Report. The star shield energy has been exhausted, and the front armor of the ship has been damaged by 8%. 8% damage to the ship's armor is already considered a huge amount of damage, and at this time, the traces of impact on the Storm's hull can be clearly seen. This is when the star shield's energy is less than 10%, and the star shield's energy is not enough to provide all-round defense for the starship. The armor of the Storm had dozens of dents and bumps caused by the impact, and combined with the wounds on the other 2 starships, it was riddled with holes. In addition, There are many corpses of interstellar Zerg on the hull, as well as dark green pus sprayed by corrosive insects, which need to be cleaned up afterwards. Fongimo nodded. Without the star shield, if the storm were to charge again, the ship would easily be scrapped. It was not worth it. Use star speed to follow and chase, use the main guns to target, and the secondary guns to coordinate and target, and do your best to destroy the Hive mothership. Xiaoming, send out all your drones. Don't be afraid of damage. We will replenish them after the battle. Feng Mo's strategy is to play around if he has armor, and be a little cowardly if he doesn't have armor. With the power of the T3 turbolaser main gun, plus the bonus of lucky talent, it can kill one enemy with one shot when facing a T2 Zerg carrier. That is, the main and secondary guns have a cooling time. The cooling time of the turbo main gun is 5 minutes, and the cooling time of the laser cannon is 3 minutes. This is because they need to dissipate heat. At this point, some people will say that the temperature in the universe is absolute zero, minus 270 degrees Celsius, so why is heat dissipation necessary? This is because there are two ways to dissipate heat: heat conduction and thermal radiation. The universe is in a vacuum state, and there is no conduction medium. The efficiency of cooling by thermal radiation alone is extremely low, just like a thermos cup. No matter how low the outside temperature is, it is difficult for the water inside to cool down. The following battle was one-sided. The students drove more than 20 starships to chase the Zerg mothership until Director Liu called everyone back, and the chase ended. In the main control room of the Storm's bridge, Feng Imo and Wang Chongsheng could be seen through the video slumped in the captain's chairs, while Imo Shui and Xiaoming were jumping up and down with excitement. At this time, the two men could only sigh in their hearts. Girls' physical strength is indeed a mystery. They would feel tired after just moving at ordinary times, but they can fight with you for a whole day and night at the critical moment. On the way back, Feng Imo made a statistics of this chase. At the beginning, Xiaoming's drone cooperated with the Storm and 2 T3 Bald Eagle main and secondary guns to destroy 5 T2 Zerg motherships. Then the fleet outflanked the formation and destroyed 4 T2s. In addition, Xiaoming defeated the enemy while they were down and sacrificed hundreds of drones, which destroyed another 7 T2s. A total of 16 T2 Zerg Hive motherships were destroyed. According to the military merit list sent by Director Liu, destroying a T2 Zerg Hive mothership is worth 100 points of military merit and 100 points of military points. Military merit is used to advance one's career and increase one's rank, while military points are used to exchange for military treasury resources. There are many coveted resources in the military's internal treasury, such as memory metal used to build combat armor, which is very expensive in the outside world and has no market. But in the military's internal warehouse, Feng Imo discovered that the stock of memory metal was calculated by tons, which made him very greedy. After returning, the four-man fleet docked at Starport No. 6 on planet Z-139, in the main control room of the Storm's bridge. Feng Imo and the other three were listening to AL's report. "Hello, three captains. I am Alplan, the deputy captain of the Storm. I will now report the battle situation to you. The fleet destroyed a total of 16 Hive motherships and obtained 1,600 military merits and 1,600 points. The commander wants everyone to share it equally. I have already reported this part of the military merit and points to the military headquarters, and I believe it has been distributed to everyone's account. As for the Zerg wreckage, we have to wait until the military uses carrier ships to clean up the battlefield before exchanging it for military points and distributing it to personal accounts. In this battle, the star shield energy of the Storm and 2 T3 Bald Eagles among the 4 starships was exhausted, and the energy consumption was as high as 70%. As many as 34 people were injured, but no one died. Among them, the Storm suffered 8% damage to its hull, and the 2 T3 Bald Eagles suffered 17% and 21% damage respectively. The T3 Hyena-class interstellar aircraft carrier lost 100 T3 Hyena-class unmanned bombers. The most important thing is that 3 starships in the fleet have had their engine restrictions lifted. They cannot be lifted again in the next month, and all 4 starships need to undergo maintenance and repairs. The military will reimburse the cost, but the commander needs to write a report and submit it. Feng Imo was listening with great interest at first, until he heard about writing a report. His face instantly fell. Writing a battle report for the military is a nightmare for students at the military academy. That report was as long and boring as an old lady's foot binding. He really didn't want to write it, so he glanced at Wang Chongsheng and the other two, and found that they all turned their heads away and didn't dare to look at him. It was obvious that none of the three wanted to write a report. Feng Yimou was furious again and could only look at Al for help. Seeing Feng Mo's pitiful appearance, AI Air finally softened her heart. After all, this was the commander she had chosen. She said helplessly, "Okay, I'll write the battle report, but don't ask me to do the maintenance of the starship later. I don't have time." After hearing this, Feng Yimou nodded repeatedly like a chick pecking at rice. After the meeting, everyone went about their own business. The two ladies secretly ran back to the dormitory to rest under the pretext of being tired. Feng Yimou complained in his heart that they were so excited when they collided with the ship just now, but they were tired after it was over. Only Feng Yimou and Lao Wang were left to command 4 starships to go to the logistics department for repair and maintenance, and to see how many good things the military points could be exchanged for. When the 4 of them arrived at the maintenance department, there was already a long queue. It seemed that the students had gained a lot. Feng Mo turned on the smart terminal, connected to the military's internal star network, called up the internal exchange list, and checked the memory metal first. He would never forget the time when Director Liu was wearing combat armor to resist the electromagnetic pulse gun. In order to build the T3 combat armor first, Feng Yimou even put the interstellar industrial ship behind his mind. After finding the exchange list for memory metal, Feng Yimou was a little dumbfounded. 1 kilogram of memory metal was worth 100 points. My God, he had to exchange at least 40 kilograms, which would require 4,000 points. Feng Yimou looked at his internal military account again. He only had 670 points. This was after the Zerg remnant military gave him 270 points. It was totally not enough. He was short of points, very short of them. "Hey, is this an escort mission?" Feng Moqing exclaimed. "It really means that if you lack points and military merits, you will be given a chance. This task can be studied carefully. Interstellar escort mission. Difficulty, medium to low. Requirements. A fleet with 5 or more starships must have at least 1 T3 or higher battleship or T3 interstellar aircraft carrier. Rewards. 5,000 points, 5,000 military merits, 300,000 star coins. The difficulty of this mission is medium, but the reward is very generous, at least more generous than the reward Feng Yimou got from the last 2 battles." He was tempted. The mission is to escort an interstellar transport fleet from base number 4 in the northern theater of war to the Xuanwu Fortress on the northern front in 10 days. Xuanwu Fortress is a large interstellar fortress and the first line of defense of the northern theater against interstellar Zerg. Baishaman Space Station is the second line of defense. Planet Z-139 is just the second line of defense, used just to deal with any fish that slip through the net. The mission will take about half a month. In the early stages, warp speed travel can be carried out, and normal travel will be carried out after arriving at the Baishaman Space Station, so it takes a long time. Moreover, the last section of the journey may involve a sneak attack from the interstellar Zerg. In short, this mission is a bit dangerous, but not a big problem. During the journey, if you encounter a battle, you will gain military merit and points by destroying an enemy mothership, and the Northern Theater will fully reimburse the repairs and supplies required for the starship. That's the mission. Feng Yimou immediately called Lao Wang, Imo Shui, and Xiao Ming. Lao Wang's video was connected quickly, but the other 2 women were a little slow. After all the videos were connected, 2 women were seen lying comfortably on a soft big bed, with fruits, vegetables, and red wine placed on the bedside. A Star Wars movie was playing opposite them. The 2 women ate and watched at the same time, looking very comfortable. "Hey, you 2 are so rude. We men are working hard outside to line up and repair and maintain the starship, while you ladies are at home watching movies and tasting red wine. The gap is too big." Lao Wang's wailing earned him a roll of the eyes from the 2 women. Feng Yimou coughed and said, "Let's get down to business. I saw a well-paid mission on the internal star network. I would like to ask for your opinions on what to do next." Feng Yimou described the mission and then looked at the 3 people expectantly. Imo Shui thought for a moment and said, "It's okay to accept the mission, but we only have 4 starships, and we are still short of 1. Do we need to recruit another student? But it may not be easy to find someone now. Also, can Director Liu agree? Feng Yimou had already prepared a plan for this and explained, I will talk to Director Liu. There should be no problem. As for the missing T3 starship, I will take care of it. After listening to Feng Mo's words, Lao Wang seemed to remember something. So he said with some surprise, Yimou, you don't want to build a temporary ship, do you? Feng Yimou snapped his fingers and said, Congratulations, you guessed it right. The fleet now has a battleship, an interstellar aircraft carrier, and 2 destroyers. I want to build 2 frigates. This will enrich the variety of starships and provide better escort. Excluding the time for traveling, the remaining 9 days are more than enough to build 2 T2-class frigates. Feng Yimou said that it was enough. Of course, he would not build the ship alone. Otherwise, 20 days would not be enough. He had thought that if he just wanted to build a frigate, he could borrow people from the military or the academy, and he only had to build the core parts himself. Seeing that the 3 had no objection, Feng Yimou called Director Liu again via video to explain the situation to him. As expected, Director Liu had no objection either. He just asked him to be careful and to contact him if there was anything, and he would be there as soon as possible. After all, the academy is for training students, not for restricting them. Everyone must be responsible for their own choices, and no one will stop you. After obtaining approval, Feng Mo immediately accepted the escort mission on the Star Network. He first entered the numbers of the 6 starships and applied for review after 9 days.